Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the Bledisloe Cup and round 5 of the Rugby Championship. Now, these two sides are not in a position to win the Rugby Championship, but they can still put on a good showing here, claim that Bledisloe Cup. New Zealand have held it for an extremely long time, but Australia, even though they were heavily defeated last week, there's still some confidence about what they can do throughout this fixture, which is only less than an hour away. But looking through at these starting lineups for this contest, ladies and gentlemen, starting with the Australians, the home side, they have made a few changes compared to what they did have last week up against Argentina. It will be Angus Bell, Matt Faisler, and Taniela Tupou as the starting front row. Now, that is a lot of power from Bell and Tupou. They've got some experience off the bench in Alalatoa alongside James Slipper, so these two really need to empty the gas tank and get Australia on the front foot. In the locking duo, this is where we see a bit of inexperience for the Wallabies. Nick Frost at number 4 and Jeremy Williams there as the number 5. Rob Valentini claims that spot at 6 with Fraser McWright moving into that loose forward trio. That is rather than Carlo Tizzano, who is currently the leading tackler of the competition. Harry Wilson, the captain, is there as the number 8. Nick White comes back into the starting lineup alongside Noah Lolesio. Now, last week we did see Ben Donaldson. He had some pretty decent moments, but they've gone back to Lolesio, which could be a concern, but it could also be a very handy trick that Australia do have up their sleeves. Hunter Baisami back in the midfield alongside Len Ikitau, and then Marika Koromperi out on one wing, Andrew Callaway out on the other, and then Tom Wright returns from his injury to take that number 15 jersey. In terms of the New Zealand starting lineup, Ethan de Groot returns from injury. He is back in the starting side with Cody Taylor and Tyrell Lomax in the front row. Those two men have been in some great form throughout this Rugby Championship, and de Groot playing well for the Southland Stags in the Bunnings NPC. He'll be looking forward to more international rugby. Scott Barrett, the captain, at 4. He needs a big game here up against the Wallabies. He's one of those guys that have been doing well in pieces, but he hasn't been able to completely put it all together as of yet as captain. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring into this contest. Tupavai, he is a man in great form, keeps his spot in the locking duo. Okay, I have just heard the news, ladies and gentlemen. Harry Plummer is about to have an All Blacks debut. Beauden Barrett was not feeling well this morning, they've just mentioned, and he's not in there anymore. Who's at number 15 then? Because Harry Plummer, if he's going to be off the bench, does that mean I would assume Will Jordan's gone to 15, Severis to the right wing, Plummer 23? Of course, we will find out in a very short moment, ladies and gentlemen. But Beauden Barrett not feeling well this morning now means that the All Blacks have got to change, and it's a massive one to not have an experienced guy like Beauden in that number 15 jersey. But in the loose forward trio, as we get towards that back line, Wallace Satiti at number 6, a sensational player throughout Super Rugby Pacific, now gets that opportunity as the number 6. Sam Cane, number 7, and Artie Savia slotting in at number 8. Cortez Ratama and Damien McKenzie, the 19 combination for the Chiefs. Geordie Barrett and Rico Ioane, they have persisted with this midfield combo for a very long time. They want it to work, and they'll just be hoping that they can put something decent together here. Ioane actually has a pretty decent record up against the Australians, but he needs a big performance here for the All Blacks. Caleb Clark out on one wing. Will Jordan, I assume, now is at 15 with the Beauden Barrett exclusion. Harry Plummer, this is going to be a massive chance for that man. Someone who some even picked in their original All Black squad after Super Rugby. He helped the Blues win that Super Rugby final. Okay, there we go. Will Jordan's moved to fullback. Severis has gone into that starting lineup at number 14. Now, that is a big risk because we saw how poor Sevu was last week and also the game prior that he played in. So it's going to be interesting to see what that does for the All Blacks, not just tactically but confidence-wise as they head into Bledisloe Cup. Match 1, we have got in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, New Zealand all the way, All Blacks Esmeralda. And Avenge Me says, cool story, bro. All Blacks, this one should be a winner. Go you good things, says Chris and Jenny. Come on, the Wallabies says, oh, captain, my captain. Australia 36, All Blacks 7 is the prediction there from Tal Malotu. All Blacks to beat the Wallabies, says Kyle. Go the Aussie all the way from Fiji, says Joseph. And of course, Fiji going to be playing a little bit later on today as well. They are going to be going head-to-head with Japan in the Pacific Nations Cup final. We are also covering that game on the channel. Where is it being played, please? It is being played in Sydney, somewhere that Australia don't actually have the worst record out of all locations in Australia, but this one is being played at Stadium Australia, or Accor Stadium, I believe is the name for it before. It was Stadium Australia. I expect the ABs to dominate. A bit less certain about SBs this evening. Says Ilmar, morning Hamish, great to see you again. Hamish Lad, my guy, says Itchy Nats, welcome in. Lucas Smart, mate, says tonight, thank you very much. And speedy recovery, Bodie. Yeah, well, not having him for this game, it's certainly thrown a spanner in the works for the All Blacks, but at the same time, it's a massive opportunity for Harry Plummer, and I hope they give him some sort of decent minutes, because he's the type of guy that, if given minutes, I think he could thrive in this All Blacks environment. He's the type of guy who might even try and take Damien McKenzie's spot if he plays well throughout, the next few months. Like they've just said, the last 20 minutes could be where we see Harry Plummer, although if it's anything like Scott Robertson's bench in other games, it'll probably be the last 2 minutes, if not even shorter. Ioane Wing, Anton Leonard Brown outside centre, says Itchy Nets, and hello mate, says Tiffany, welcome in, hope you are keeping well. And come on Barrett, Jordan has to push it now, no time to relax. And I actually think that might benefit Will Jordan a little bit, which is weird to say, because he probably only found out this morning that he was playing fullback. But sometimes that's actually better for a player, to not overthink it and to just get that opportunity to jump in there and let your instincts do the work for you, rather than having all the plans and having to change what you knew about being out on the ring or out on the wing and then going to fullback. I think this might actually be the opportunity for Will Jordan to have a much stronger performance than if he had started on the right wing or originally was named at number 15. Morning Hamish, enjoy the game, go the All Blacks. If White and Perenara are on the field at the same time, we won't need commentary, or we won't be able to hear you, says Joss. Yeah, two men who love chatting, that is for sure. And, TJ, he's got to control himself in this contest. He's going to be coming off the bench. I don't think the referee will take any stick throughout this matchup, so anything that TJ does, he will be under the microscope and make that 81 donut. You're saying 81-0 for the score prediction. Yes, Australia conceded 9 tries last week up against Argentina, but I hope that this game is close. And when it's Super Rugby ossification playing, whose Canes are playing first in Super, so the first round is going to be in February. I believe it's like mid-February to late February normally. It's when Super Rugby starts up. I'm not actually sure who the Hurricanes have first, but they are once again looking like a really strong side, even without the likes of Artie Savia. We're seeing Wellington playing at the moment up against the Bay of Plenty. Looking like a decent game so far. And good morning, Hamish. Looking smart. Hope a good game. Durban is freezing today. Snow in South Africa. And we just need a win, says Matt John. Yeah, any sort of victory for New Zealand in this contest gets them the Bledisloe Cup. Interesting, no Ruben Love to get a run. He is injured at the moment. He played for Wellington last week in the Ramfurly Shield Challenge up against Tasman, and he actually ended up picking up a bit of a knee injury, the same one that he had throughout Super Rugby Pacific. So that is why he is not there. And I'm not even sure if he travelled to Australia with the squad because of that injury. We have got there, you're going down in the contest, Kiwi. Says, you old shagger, you old nut. Love the name. But yeah, I hope that it's a really close game. And I hope that both of these sides put a good foot forward, because we've got to remember, both of these teams are coming off losses. New Zealand losing to South Africa. I'm already losing my voice. This is only 14 or so minutes in. But yeah, both of these sides coming off losses. New Zealand losing back-to-back up against South Africa. And then we saw Australia, they won the first game up against Argentina in the final moments. And then their last game, they were up by 20 to then lose by 40, which is pretty insane kind of turnaround. But they are still a side that can be competitive. And like they've said all throughout the week, if they get a good start in this game, the Wallabies, and can keep that start for the rest of the game and put together an 80-minute performance, could be pretty close. I look sharp today, nice suit and tie, says Kingsley. Thank you very much, mate. And Waikato woman versus Northland woman score is 81 donut to Waikato. And let's be honest, the Aussies aim for a whipping. That seems most likely, right? But at the same time, when you look through at the history between these two sides, when they've played in Sydney and when they've played for the Bledisloe, there have been times that Australia have been extremely close to taking that Bledisloe Cup, but they just end up missing out. The Wooden Spoon Cup, says Duncan, it could be, although there is also a chance that whoever wins... Well, actually, can Argentina lose their spot where they are at the moment. We've got the Rugby Championship table here. But whoever wins this contest, if it is New Zealand, then all of a sudden Australia, if they are losing by a large margin, or if they are close, then they might still be in the competitiveness with Argentina, depending on what happens in Argentina later on for the rest of the Rugby Championship. But there are still some big games to go. South Africa playing Argentina later on. That is at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. We are going to be covering that game on the channel as well. We've got Fiji versus Japan for the Pacific Nations Cup final. That is kicking off at around 10 p.m. New Zealand time. Then also a Curry Cup final at 2 a.m. between the Golden Lions and the Natal Sharks, just to close it out. But I found it quite interesting looking through at what happened last time these two sides played for the Bledisloe, and some of the names that both of these teams had available are completely different to what we see at the moment for New Zealand and Australia. It was just before that World Cup in the shortened Rugby Championship, but one thing's for sure, these two sides have had a complete revamp since it did take place the last time. Like, we'll look through at the Australian lineup first of all, because they have got some huge names that are missing. Barrett is out, Plummer on the bench. That is correct. Severis moved to the right wing, Will Jordan to 15 at the start of this game. But for the Australians, the last game that they played of the Bledisloe Cup, it was actually 23 points to 20. New Zealand sneaking the win in the final moments. But in the starting lineup for Australia, they did have Dave Parecki, who is not playing in this match. They had Ponefa Masili. They had Rory Arnold. They had Tom Hooper, who's not playing in this game. They had Carter Gordon, who has gone to league. They've got Mark Nawanga-Netawasi, who has also shifted over to rugby league. They had Samu Karevi and Jordan Pataya in the midfield. And this was back when Andrew Callaway was playing number 15 rather than being out on that right wing. Off their bench, they also had Quade Cooper, Rob Leota, Will Skelton, and Isaiah Perezi. So a few names that they do not even have in the squad at the moment, let alone in their starting lineup or reserves here. For the All Blacks, though, they are in the same boat. In that game, they had Will Jordan at 15 when it was 23 points to 20. They had Sean Stevenson and Lester Whaiananuku out on the two wings. Braden Eno and Anton Leonard-Brown as the midfield combination. Finlay Christie was amongst the men in this game. Nepo Lolala alongside Samasoni Taukiaho, Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock. A lot of big names that are no longer there for the All Blacks. Most of them playing overseas. But for New Zealand off their bench, they had Dane Coles. They had Aaron Smith, Richie Moonga. All the guys that are not playing in this game today. So, yes, we can look at the previous results between the two sides and try and base some information off that. But honestly, the teams are that different now that it's very hard to say that it's going to be the same as what it was last year when the two sides played. And it's all about these younger guys getting the opportunity, some of which this is their first Bledisloe Cup chance, and it's been so long since Australia have been able to hold that Bledisloe Cup, and it's quite an interesting one because I was thinking about it yesterday and also this morning. Because YouTube did not exist in 2002, no one has ever made a YouTube video straight after Australia have won the Bledisloe Cup saying that they've won it. And just let that sink in. That's how long it has been since Australia have held the Bledisloe Cup. And I feel like there is a certain Australian YouTuber who could be the first ever to make a video as an Australian reacting to Australia winning the Bledisloe Cup. And he would be a very happy man, that is for sure. But for them to be able to do that and even have a chance of doing that, they need to draw or they need to win this game. Is that 2002? I cannot believe that, says Dakota. Yep, it was before Twitter existed, before Facebook was a thing, almost before Xboxes were even a thing, actually, as well, and almost before PlayStations were a bit older, weren't they? Hamish's mustache is superior to Nick White's. I wouldn't guarantee that. Nick White has got a very good stash on his head. Go the All Blacks, they will perform well, although they have always come through, says Kingsley. And I Hamish hot in Brisbane today. Go the All Blacks. I hope we got a great game. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Even if it isn't that close, well, actually, no, I want it to be very close. That's pretty much the gist of my prediction. Like I said, New Zealand to win by 15, but I do hope that is a lot closer. And hello, Hamish. Hope you're doing well. I'll bet on the All Blacks for this one. All Blacks by 21. Are you doing the Curry Cup final? We certainly are doing the Curry Cup final alongside the final of the Pacific Nations Cup, and then also the Pumas versus Springboks game. Put a draw on the polls because both teams suck. Says Choke the Woke. Nice one. Big House Sports. No, he's yet. No, not him. I was more talking wild card, if I'm honest. Marco there. And Ian Foster did end up winning 4 rugby championships in a row and went all the way to the World Cup final. Not too bad, says Christopher DeVette. And yeah, at the moment, he actually has a better starting coaching record than Scott Robertson does. Ian Foster in his first 7 had lost 2, drawn 1, won 4. So far, Scott Robertson has lost 3, won 4. So they're quite similar and lovely. Are you saying head sounds like hit? You could say a hit to the head, says Dakota. And looking at the Super Rugby performance, the All Blacks got this, says Kingsley. And evening Hammy, I just got home from work. How far are we, says Spider Meek? Well, it looks like they're actually going to be starting at the right time, which is fantastic news. So it is only going to be 28 minutes away rather than the anticipated, what I thought was going to be 43 minutes, because normally when they start a game in Australia, they're 15 minutes later than they initially schedule it for. This game is free to air in Australia, says Gordon Wong. Hamish has proper facial hair. It begins with the beginnings of a great beard. Nick White has a silly face with a silly mustache. Nick's looks like a crooked traffic cop. I think that was a compliment to me a little bit, so thank you very much. When do we get a new coach? That's the thing. New Zealand have a great ability of locking in coaches for extremely long periods of time by throwing big contracts on them. The same thing happened for Ian Foster, and they ended up giving him a long contract, and then they pretty much begged him to resign because they didn't want to pay him out. And they've done the same with Scott Robertson here. So I don't think we'll see a new All Blacks coach for quite some time. So a lot of people will have to get used to seeing Scott Robertson's face. And there they are, just showing the last time Australia lifted the Bledisloe Cup 21 years ago. So many cups have been lifted since then. A majority of them lifted by Richie McCaw, as they are showing in the highlights reel. Then it became Kieran Reid. More recently, Sam Cane. And also Sam Whitelock. As the game on now, not quite. The game has taken place in less than 30 minutes time. Foster doesn't mumble when he speaks, says Dave. Yeah, he just doesn't speak much, does he? He kind of goes, oh, yeah, we lost that one. That's all right. We'll win the next one. And then they didn't. Then he go, oh, yeah, we'll win the next one. And then he got runner-up in the World Cup, which I feel like is a lot more than a lot of people thought for Ian Foster. We have got their time to kick ass. All Blacks to get the first try, says Roof. In fact, while we're at it, we might as well get some predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Who do you think will be scoring the first game? Does Robertson get fired if the ABs lose this game? No. Because if you fire a coach 1 week before the second match of the Bledisloe, you're asking to lose it. If you even put out the rumours that you might fire him after the first match isn't successful, then once again they might lose it. So for New Zealand, they will have to reassess after the Bledisloe. But I still think that they're going to keep him around for quite some time now. But I would like to see some sort of sign that he hasn't followed the Ian Foster pattern, which is picking favourites and not picking off form. Harry Plummer at number 23 for this game. That might be a blessing in disguise. We might get to see another guy who was in great form throughout Super Rugby be able to prove himself. Definitely up against a side like Australia. Someone who Harry Plummer has gone head-to-head with throughout Super Rugby in terms of the respective sides, now gets a chance at international level. But looking through at what is to come for these two sides, we mentioned about the November internationals just before. New Zealand have got a stacked tour. They are playing Japan in the warm-up game. Then in the November internationals, they are playing England, Ireland, France, as well as Italy. It is absolutely stacked from start to finish. All those games almost at a decent time for us here in New Zealand. But anyone who is in South Africa, if you want to know what time that will be 11:10 p.m. That will be 6:10 p.m. And then also that one is the same as New Zealand. How you don't actually know, because we don't know at this stage either. For the Australians, they have got some nice early morning starts. For myself, they are playing the English on the 10th of November. They will then have the game up against Wales. They will then play Scotland, and then they will play Ireland on the 1st of December, one day before my birthday. But looking through at the table at the moment, there is a game later on tonight, which is a lot more important, you could say, in terms of the outcome of the Rugby Championship. But this game, of course, is important when it comes to that Bledisloe. South Africa, they only need a draw, and then they will win this Rugby Championship competition, they are in the box seat. And it is something that some people have felt like South Africa haven't been able to do well, is that window in between a World Cup. But they have proven right here they are a top contender. New Zealand, they were close in both games, but they couldn't get that final blow because their bench was the thing that did let them down. Foster, a grown man child. Beauden Barrett out. He is indeed out. So Will Jordan moves to 15. Severeese moves to the right wing. And then Harry Plummer at number 23. Your thoughts on Plummer as a reserve? What is likely his position when he comes on? I would say for Harry Plummer, it would make sense for him to be either 10 or 12. So we could see a bit of a reshuffle. Perhaps we see... That's the thing. They had a plan. And I feel like, honestly, if they had known that Beauden Barrett was going to drop out, I think they would have had Mark Talia off the bench so that they could have put him into the starting lineup at number 14 rather than Severeese. I feel like they wanted to ease Reese back into it, seeing as he's been out of form. But yeah, I think that Flyhal's probably the most likely spot. We will see Harry Plummer. So depending on how well New Zealand go early will depend on how much game time Plummer does actually get. Geordie Barrett, first try scorer. Says Stephen's uncle. Wallabies is surprise. Says Carwin I. Hamish, I fear if the Aussies lose, they'll have the confidence problem with the British and Irish Lions looming. I think they already will, even without a loss here. Or even with a loss here. Like, there have been talks already about that British and Irish Lions tour and about whether or not it's going to be competitive. At the moment, like, when you look through at who could be in that British and Irish Lions side, it's going to be stacked. So Australia will have their hands full, but that's the type of challenge that can sometimes make a side a lot better. We saw them have a couple close games up against the Welsh, but they got through and they got themselves the wins. Are they really sacking him already? They won't, because they gave him a big money contract that if he was to resign, he wouldn't get paid out. So you're in that same situation New Zealand Rugby have put themselves in that they had with Ian Foster, but I don't see them sacking him soon. At the end of the day, if you sack him, who are you going to next? You've already, you tried the Foster side of things. That didn't work. Joe Schmidt, he is now the head coach of the Wallabies. Then saying that if they lose a few more games, the trend for the Wallabies has been to sack the coach. So who knows? Maybe Joe Schmidt ends up back in New Zealand at some point. Stuff is saying Beauden Barrett has been ruled out. He is indeed out of this game due to being unwell this morning. So yeah, you are correct. Harry Plummer is brought into the side, and like I mentioned, those reshuffles from just before. I'm always annoyed with Foster, with the crazy losses. But now I'm also almost feeling apologetic. Says Choke the Woke. To be honest, like, when you look back at the Ian Foster era, I think a lot of people realize now that they were a lot more harsh on that man than they should have been. Like, in terms of the fact that, like, it wasn't actually as bad as some people thought it was. If that makes sense. When you look back at it, and yes, they had a couple big losses to certain sides. Yes, they lost a home tour up against Ireland, but like, they actually, overall, in some of those big games that mattered, they won. And, it's one of those ones that I think that Scott Robertson is now experiencing that same thing Ian Foster was. But people are looking back at that Foster run and going, oh, maybe we were a bit harsh on a guy who was just trying to do the best that he could with the side that he had. And why is Beauden Barrett out? Illness this morning is what left Beauden Barrett out of the side. So it means that Will Jordan transitions to 15, which he actually was playing 15 the last time the All Blacks played the Wallabies. Then we see Severeese out on the right wing, and then Harry Plummer off the bench at number 23. I've seen tackling bags defend better than Reese Lowell, says Stephen. Are you getting plumbed? What does that mean? Is that like a pun on Harry Plummer's name, or is that like some sort of analogy that I am not aware of, you old... It sounds like I'm insulting you, but that is literally your name, you old shagger. Jordan needs the first try, says Ruth. And Wounded Wallabies will be dangerous, says Gordon, Wong and Hamish. Who do you think will take the Curry Cup final, Sharks or the Lions? I mean, the Lions are looking the more consistent side, I would argue. But the Sharks are still a side that could easily pull off an upset. Like, they've got some very decent players in their lineup. You look at that back line, Andre Esterhazen's there at number 15. They've got Jordan Hendrickse, who could be a future Springbok option. The Tchukas in the forward pack. I think it's going to be a really good game, and we are going to be covering it on the channel as well. If you were able to get Rassi, would you take him as a coach? Says Buffalo. I don't know if I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know whether or not New Zealanders would accept him, if that makes sense. Like, he is a phenomenal coach, and that cannot be denied. But I feel like the personality side of things might clash a bit with the All Blacks, if that makes sense. And that's not as an insult. That's not trying to start anything. I'm just saying maybe it wouldn't quite fit that mold that the All Blacks are trying to achieve, if that makes sense. And come on, the Wallabies, you need this win. And we have got our change gender if the All Blacks ever got a foreign coach and take up a Morris dancing. Big game for Rico today. Do you think he has the potential to be the answer at 13? I think that they had the answer to 13 in either Billy Proctor or Leonard Brown, but they never decided to give them the opportunity. Maybe it's not the coach. Has anybody thought that the team could just be bad, says Jimmy James? It's something that a lot of people should be thinking about, because at the end of the day, the All Blacks' discipline has been poor in the last little while. And then alongside that, you're also looking at handling errors. Just so many of them, out of position players, which, yes, some set pieces might be a part of the coach's plan, but the players are still dropping the ball far too often and getting penalised far too often as well. Foster was unlucky, in my opinion. The rest of the world caught up in skill level. He happened to be the coach, though, or through this most recent time period. Yeah, I agree. Like, people were saying, in terms of Ian Foster losing to Ireland, they said that as an insult. But Ireland, when you look at them over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 year period, they have gone leaps and bounds above what most people even could have dreamed of for the Irish. You look at France, how strong they were at one point. You look at even Australia. They have had some good moments throughout their rough, bumpy ride. Joe Schmidt, he wants to find that form, and he wants to find that next level for the Wallabies. And a Bledisloe Cup in the cabinet would certainly help with that. I guess it is more nationality than personality. Rassi just quoted explanation, says Dakota. No shame in losing to Ireland. They are number 1 in the world right now, says Dakota. Well, not quite. They are currently second. I know that might have annoyed a few people, but they're currently second ranked at the moment. If New Zealand employ a non-New Zealand coach, the world is over. And also we have got there are 7 official languages in South Africa, including English, says Spider-Man. Cambridge's commentary king, says Roof. And New Zealand won't take Rassi as the coach. The media won't have it, says Red 7. They're just showing some of the highlights of back when Joe Schmidt coached Ireland to beat the All Blacks in 2016 and 2018. It'll be interesting to see how he goes here, because he has got some very decent coaching experience. Played 5-1-2, points for 101, points against 129 up against the All Blacks. So he always keeps it close up against the ABs, and now he is on foreign soil with the Wallabies. We've got to remember, Leon McDonald is also somewhere in the mix at the moment for the Australians. I want the Wallabies to win, but it has to be the ABs tonight, says Professor Quincy, I should say. And yeah, it's an intriguing game, isn't it? Because for the sake of the Bledisloe Cup, right, and just for the sake of the Bledisloe Cup, before I get some people angry at me, Australia to win this game would actually be massive, not just for their confidence, but also for the intrigue and also the hype for the second match. If New Zealand win this, the second match I feel like is nowhere near as anticipated. But it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. We're only 15 minutes away from kickoff as well, ladies and gentlemen, which is extremely exciting news. We are currently on a cycle where everyone is stronger than the ABs. It's the same back in the 90s and 2005. Says Red 7. Everyone is stronger than New Zealand. Australia most certainly not. And how many unofficial languages are there in South Africa, says Fluffy. And the leak is that the All Blacks has fixed the plumber, has arrived, says Abe's man. Yeah, it's going to be great to see Harry Plummer get that chance. Bowden Barrett down and replace that fullback by Will Jordan Wright. Correct. Sever Reece goes out to the right wing to replace where Will Jordan was. And then Harry Plummer replacing Sever Reece off the bench as the number 23. So they've had a little bit of a late change that they had to make here for the All Blacks, but it brings the opportunity for Harry Plummer, who I am extremely glad was travelling with the squad, just because Auckland have got games coming up, including a Ranfurly Shield Challenge, but they decided to keep him in the squad, and it's paid off now for him if he gets some minutes later on in the game. Maybe Leon McDonald was on the right track, says Nick Kim, and wounded Wallabies are always dangerous, and the All Blacks are wounded also, says Ronnie Peters. Yeah, both of these sides coming off losses in their last fixtures by Australia, defeated by the 40 points up against the Argentines, which is crazy to think that that is the end score. Definitely because they were up by 20 at the start of that fixture. They won in a very close game up against the Argentines the week prior, and then 2 losses to South Africa, not really being able to score too many tries throughout that period of time. And at the moment for the Australians, they are actually the only side in the Rugby Championship to not score at least double figures in terms of their amount of tries total in the competition. They have only scored 6 throughout these games. New Zealand have scored 13. They are actually the second lowest now. South Africa have scored 14, and Argentina has scored the most tries out of any side in the Rugby Championship because they have scored the 15. For New Zealand, they started off a little bit rough in their Rugby Championship campaign. They were defeated by the Argentines 38 points to 30. They fired back with a massive performance in the next fixture, winning 42 points to 10. But little did they know that would be the only win that the All Blacks have had throughout this Rugby Championship up till round 5. I was about to say 7. I don't know why I was about to say 7. That's because maybe that's how many points New Zealand have at the moment on the table, but they lost by 4 up against South Africa. They lost by 6. I think that a lot of people were concerned about those 2 games, mainly the second one, because New Zealand weren't able to score a single try throughout that game. But overall, you know, like as close as those games were, we've still got to remember that is the current world champion that the All Blacks were going up against while they are in that rebuilding phase. So I don't want to make too many excuses for them. But at the same time, losing in South Africa to South Africa by less than 7 twice in a row is not as bad as some people feel it is, if that makes sense. Like, it could have gone either way. Both of those fixtures, in fact, New Zealand just not quite able to put the icing on the cake, and that is something that they'll have to do here up against the Aussies. Close out the game well, because neither of these sides have been finishing fixtures that terrifically. Big Sydney crowd, Kiwis don't know about that. Says, I don't know what to, I was going to call you old, but I can't call you Shagger as the nickname either. I guess Nut might have to be the one. Shout out to Uncle Greg and Auntie Paula, setting it up in Vanuatu, says Pippa there. In South Africa, sign language will soon be an official language. And also NZ says skateboard. And also we've got their man, the Argies, wasted Australia. They certainly did. They got a really, really big win. Like 40 points after being down by 20. Still persisting with Kane. Peter Luckeye would have been a great choice. I actually made a video a little while ago about my All Blacks XV, and I did have Peter Luckeye in the squad and given him a crack here. He's playing for Wellington, I think, at the moment, although that game, I believe, has just come to a close. You're right, boxing South Africa is a huge ask. Says Red, 7 in both games could have gone either way. As you said, New Zealand Rugby is still right up there, Hamish. Says Joss, how do you explain losing to the Pumas on home ground? Says Jimmy James. I mean, that one, of course, I would, like, this is controversial, right? But I would say that losing to Argentina in New Zealand, for me, is a bigger loss than losing both games up against South Africa in South Africa. And, you know, 8 points difference. New Zealand scoring 30 points in that game. Unfortunately, they just didn't close out the contest in the way that they would have liked. They also made far too many mistakes. But I don't think you can just blame that on Scott Robertson straight off the bat. Still don't understand why they dropped Nuttall from the squad. Yeah, I'm not too sure either, to be honest. Is it Plummer's debut? It will be his debut if he gets the chance off the bench. It says it's 10 minutes away from kicking off as well, ladies and gentlemen. But we're still in the studio at the moment, so hopefully they are correct and both sides are just about to make their way out onto the field. Just watch Bay of Plenty versus Wellington. Kiwi Rugby is awesome shape. Just wear the crowds. Says Temp and New Zealand Rugby are in denial. Says John Santos. In what regard would you say, John? Is it the, like, as in like New Zealand Rugby Board, or just like New Zealand Rugby in general, or what's the go? It's been a minute since I've been here, since Rugby South Africa. Well, welcome back, mate. Hope you are keeping well. We've got plenty of rugby throughout today. We're going to be doing 10 hours worth of talking. Read my comment, Australia by 30. Says Red Pilled. And losing is losing, no matter who you're playing. It's the AB's no excuses, says Fluffy. Yeah, although I don't really agree with that mentality. Because, like, sometimes that loss can make you a little bit stronger. And this All Black side will learn from these losses. It's just whether or not they learn under Scott Robertson, or whether people are going to try and sack their coach before they can make any progress in the direction that they want. But you've got to remember, yes, the All Blacks, as prestigious of a side as they are, they've been caught up to. And it's a hard one to hear, but other sides around the world are just as good, if not at the moment better, than the All Blacks now. And like I said, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's one that once you accept the fact that world rugby at the moment is more competitive than I believe it has ever been, then you can kind of sit back and actually look at this as a whole and really enjoy the landscape of world rugby at the moment in terms of which sides are progressing. Even sides outside the top 10 have a chance of beating some of those sides a little bit higher now, which is fantastic news. They haven't learned a thing in 2 years, says Fluffy, and I think that's a little bit down to them being scared to make a huge amount of change, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be that coach that goes with an experimental side and then loses the Bledisloe. Oh, okay. Jeff Wilson's going to give us a prediction here. I think he probably is going to predict about 20 points in favour of the All Blacks. Do you think the Wallabies can be competitive once the front row subs? I'm worried Slipper and Alan Alatoa will get bullied like the last match says. Proof, well, the last match, I think that was actually the one that Alan Alatoa got injured, wasn't it? Up against the All Blacks. And it's been a long time since we've seen that man in the Wallabies jersey. New Zealand coach getting sacked this arvo. ABs need to open up to overseas players. It's a global game. Oh, look what it did for the Box, says LNG. Yeah, although I was thinking about it the other day a little bit. And when we talk about overseas players, getting them available for New Zealand, I feel like there's only maybe 4 maybe that New Zealand would actually consider signing or playing. And that would be Richie Mo'unga. That would be, I don't think Aaron Smith wants to play for the All Blacks anymore just because he has decided he is at that stage of retiring from international rugby. Brodie Retallick, he is playing a bit, but I don't think he would want to play either. So you've probably got Shannon Frizzell, Richie Mo'unga, and Lester Whainarnuku, who also said he's not that interested in international rugby because he was more concerned about going overseas to make a whole heap of money in the years that he's got playing rugby for his family. So, you know, there's not actually that many guys overseas when you really consider it that New Zealand would actually be able to bring back in. Other than maybe Richie Mo'unga is probably the main one. And we have got the Are You Playing a Game or is this a real game? So this is going to be the real commentary for the game. I think Julian Savia is back. Says Blaze, he is playing for Wellington at the moment. Jeff Wilson's commentary really grinds my gears, says Stephen's uncle. And South Africa are better now, but the All Blacks will only get better. And my prediction is 27-19, says Rugby South African there. And nice snowy weather to watch some rugger. Nice, bit of snow out and about. Luckily, no snow on the field for this contest. It does look like they're not actually going to be ready in 6 minutes' time like they said. Who do you think is winning the Currie Cup? I think that the Lions have got a really good shot of being able to get themselves the win, but I wouldn't guarantee that the Sharks can't cause an upset. At the end of the day, the Sharks are the only South African franchise side that got some sort of trophy last year in terms of the Challenge Cup, so perhaps they can add another one into the trophy cabinet for that game. I just want to see the bench come on and make an impact. There's been a letdown of ours of late, says Rodney. Yep, New Zealand need to have those guys off the bench change the game and keep that momentum going that the starting lineup works so hard to try and get. And like you said, it's just been something that has let them down quite a bit. The big V8 show, said digging the shirt. Amish, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate it. It is freezing in South Africa with a lot of rain. And I got rugby at 1 p.m. today, says Rugby South African. Well, hopefully it does get a little bit nicer for yourself by the time your game starts. AB's by 20. Easy, need to clear the breach, or need to clear the bench in the 60-minute. Said that Quade Cooper is still the best 10 for Australia. And yeah, he was playing in the last game up against New Zealand. Same with Samu Karevi. Same with, there are so many other names that they don't have now that they had in last year's game. Even in the hooker position, someone like Dave Parecki, he got quite a bit of stick, but they have got Brandon Paianga and Mosa coming off the bench later on in this game. New Zealand will never win against South Africa unless the ref is fair, says Spider Mick. And Aaron Smith said on KOKO, he's going to play again if the rules allowed it, says Ross Cooper. It would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because that's the thing. it would help New Zealand, right? But then at the same time, I think it would halt them a bit because you're still in that situation of you have to build up your next guy after Aaron Smith. At the moment, people are really keen on Roygaard. They think that he's going to be a great option moving forward for the All Blacks when he's back from his injury. Putting someone like Aaron Smith in, it would be, in my opinion, yes, Smith would help the All Blacks, but at the same time, it would be similar in regards of what happens when they put TJ Perenara back in, that some people are like, yes, that's great, but you need that next wave of young guys to then help your side and then progress your side towards the future. Why is it that Akira gets overlooked for the All Blacks? In the nicest way possible, I think that Akira, his work rate is what cost him a little bit in terms of the selection. Yes, he's a dangerous attacking ball runner when he has it in hand, but I think that the fact that he normally disappears on defense, like I'm saying, trying to be as nice as possible, they always talked about it when the All Black squad was selected. They said they were looking for players who were strong on attack and defense, and also, you know, kind of like that. So, yeah, I think that was one of the reasons. Plus, he was going to Japan, so that meant that he ended up missing out. There's always someone better than Akira. Akira is unlucky with that regard. And come on, guys, like and subscribe, says Rodney. Yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more rugby coming today. We're going to be doing 10 hours of commentary throughout the next about 17 hours or so, which is something we haven't done in a very long time on the channel. In fact, the last time that we had so many games back to back to back, it's probably the July Internationals. Thoughts on Kerr? Or over, I think that is, maybe, or under 56.5 points. The weather is nice. The sun is out at the moment. I don't really want to give a prediction just because I know that you yourself are going to try and put money on it. And then if I get it wrong, then you probably won't like me very much. But I'll tell you my score prediction, but I will just also mention my score predictions are normally wrong. I predicted New Zealand to win this game 38 points to 23. So do with that what you will. What are all the games today? So the first one is, of course, this game between Australia and New Zealand. The next game that is taking place will be the matchup between Fiji and Japan, which is the Pacific Nations Cup final. That is kicking off at 10:05 p.m. New Zealand time. The next game after that is the Currie Cup final between the Lions and the Sharks. Some great players across those two sides. A few of those South African international players now playing there as well. And then also after that, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, but we are starting at 8 a.m. That is the game between Argentina and South Africa. You're not liable, bro, says Matt John. I'll put 50 on Talia catching the ball. Is Talia playing? He is not playing, no, so you probably lost your $50. Where's George? I believe he is working today from what I've heard. He's also sick at the moment, though, so that is not ideal. What time's kickoff, says Tiffany? Once again, I think Australia have lied to everyone, and it is actually going to be 15 minutes later than they first said. So the kickoff will be at 6 p.m. New Zealand time, 15 minutes later. And everyone seemed to think that the build-up, like even the New Zealand ones, had it that it was going to be the kickoff at 5:45, but Australia always have it later. I've been curious somewhere. Says, Joke the Woke, Sharks by 7, says Skateboard. And I'm off to the TAB, put in the house on Hamish's prediction. Says Stephen's uncle, go the Sharks. And bad bet that, says Fluffy, and good morning. Hamish from GQ, Australia 22, New Zealand 42. And 4 p.m. Queensland, I believe so, yeah. In 15 minutes time, whatever the time is in Queensland. Anybody know if Australia or anyone ever tweeted Wallabies won the Bledisloe? Not live at the time, which is crazy to say. I actually mentioned it earlier on. There has never been a YouTuber in any sense that has made a video straight after Australia have won the Bledisloe Cup and said, we have won the Bledisloe. And the first one, if Australia win here, it could be wildcard. You know, he's a guy who stuck by them for a very long time. He's had the passion for the Aussies, and now, you know, is this year going to be the one that he can finally say, we won the Bledisloe? Because it would literally be the first time that an Australian has made a video saying that they've won the Bledisloe on YouTube. Why is Bowden Barrett out of the game? He was unwell this morning, so they decided to play it safe and take him out of the side. Will Jordan moves to 15. Severu Reece moves to the right wing, and then Harry Plummer will make his way off the bench for this match. Well, it's going to be close, 23 all, says Jack Tahana. And also tuned in from Cape Town. Believe the guys will bounce back ABs by 20 points, says Martin Jacobs. And so is the kickoff at 6 p.m. New Zealand time. That is correct, yep. They are just building into it at the moment. Both sides will be making their way onto the field extremely soon. And then we will be ready to go. Curious George was an old 80s or 90s cartoon. I was being an idiot. Says, I got the reference, joke the woke. It was a monkey, wasn't he? If I'm correct. There's an Australian technique to hold the game up, to let the nerves build up for the ABs. Says Stephen Uncle. Why Bodie out? Bodie is unwell. So he has been left out of the side. Geordie Barrett, Scott Barrett, his two bros are still in the starting lineup though. It does bring a little bit of a change when it comes to that All Blacks backline, having Sevu Reece move to 14, Will Jordan moving to 15, which is actually where he started in the last game up against Australia, in which New Zealand were able to win at 23 points to 20. Looking at who scored in that game, ladies and gentlemen, we saw Damian McKenzie as the man with the goal kicking. We saw Brodie Retallick and Braden Ennor both suffer injuries up against the Australians. And at half-time, Australia were leading 17 points to 3 the last time they played New Zealand. Marika Korombete, Tom Hooper, the two men who scored in that first half. But then New Zealand, they turned it around. Sean Stevenson, Sama Penny-Finau, their two try scorers, which does mean the only man who scored a try in that fixture who is playing today is Marika Korombete. And we're only about a year and a bit away from when that game took place. Are you watching it through? I can't find it on Sky Sport for some reason. So for me, it is on Sky Sport 1. I think it's also on Sky Sport 2 for Māori Language Week. I think it's got the Māori commentary. A good thing to do if you are on Sky Sport now is to just refresh your feed, and then it should be there, hopefully. Korombete will be a target, told to target Jordan or Reece. Says Eric B. And also we're good there. Rugby is our game. AU's got league. Says Hari Honi, but they are just talking about James Slipper. He's going to become the most capped Wallaby of all time. Watching two teams that struggle to close out games will be interesting. Well, yeah, someone's got to close out the game, I guess, relatively well, don't they, if both teams have struggled. So it's just more of the question of who is going to be the side that can get it right later. And maybe that is why we've seen the experience of James Slipper and Alan Alatoa coming off the bench for Australia. They've also got Tate McDermott. They've got some very strong players. New Zealand, they've got a few decent players off their bench as well. Just quickly looking through, ladies and gentlemen, at the New Zealand bench, they have got a Safa Moore, Tamaiti Williams, number 18, Pasilio Tosi. I'm looking forward to seeing him because he had a really good little burst up against the Fijians just to not get any other opportunities throughout the rest of the games. The same can be said about Billy Proctor. That man has had to play in the NPC just to get some game time. TJ Perenara, Anton Leonard-Brown, and now Harry Plummer as the man at number 23. But James Slipper, he will be the most capped most capped Wallaby if he makes his way off the bench in this game, going ahead of George Gregan. But Australia, like I mentioned, James Slipper will be off the bench. Tate McDermott, Tom Liner, and Dylan Peach as the back replacements. New Zealand and Australia just making their way out of the tunnels, 10 minutes away from the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. But if you are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The way that the Rugby Championship table sits at the moment, New Zealand are on 7 points, Australia are on 4. At the moment, you could say it's the battle for the wooden spoon. So both of these sides want to get that victory to work their way just a little bit closer towards second place. And New Zealand would go into second, I should mention, if they do win this game, which is only moments away. The late change, Beauden Barrett, not in the All Blacks squad or in the All Blacks side after being sick this morning. Will Jordan moves from 14 to 15. Sevu Reece out on the right wing. And then Harry Plummer given the chance off of the bench. As this game in Sydney, it certainly is a Slipper's last game. If he sees his ass, says Duncan. I mean, it's one of those ones. He's still probably got a few more games up his sleeve if he really wants them. He could have the November games because the problem that Australia have had for a little while is the amount of times they've ended up with injuries in their propping department, which then brings back those veterans. I don't know whether or not you guys remember, but at one point, wasn't it Greg Holmes or someone was in the Wallaby side, the oldest ever Wallaby, because of all those injuries that they were suffering. It's terrible that Slipper can break the record of someone like Gregan. says Vitamin. I mean, you could say it's terrible, but you also have to look at it as that's a pretty impressive thing to do as a prop, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, you're in those scrums and you're landing on your head multiple times during scrums, going down, pushing against your shoulders, your neck's getting busted up. Yet to do that 140 times, that's just at international level as well. Like, that is a very, very impressive stat for James Slipper. The Pumas beat the Box twice, says Doctor, and Argentina does. But they need 2 bonus point wins, says Novmum, and sign was added as 12th, says Nick there. And does New Zealand have a mathematical chance of winning the Rugby Championship? It's a very, very, in fact, no. I was trying to do the maths, but nah. No chance at the moment. So they just have to go out here and try and get that second place rather than get in that first. Yeah, the Rugby Championship. They have won it quite a few times in recent years, but this year will not be one of those times. It's either going to be the Springboks or it is going to be the Pumas. But we are almost here at the national anthems, ladies and gentlemen. Just the welcome to country taking place. Then the national anthems will be here, and then the hakas of the All Blacks. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all for Australia, for anyone who hasn't seen it, Angus Bell, Matt Faisler and Taniela Tupou are there as the front row. Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams in the locking duo, with Rob Valentini, Fraser McWright coming in for Carlo Tizzano, who is leading the tackling of the competition, and Harry Wilson, the captain, slotting in as the number 8. Nick White and Noah Lolesio in the starting 9-10 combination, with the option off the bench of Tom Liner and Tate McDermott, Hunter Paisami and Len Ikatel in the midfield. Marika Korombeti, the only man who is playing in this game that scored up against the All Blacks the last time these two sides went head-to-head. Andrew Callaway out on the right wing. He was playing 15 in the last time that these two sides played. And Tom Wright there at number 15 after coming back from injury. But they are just showing there, Harry Plummer, this is his first chance to hear that New Zealand national anthem at international level, being on the field, coming in to replace the injured, well, not really the injured, but the unwell Beauden Barrett. A little bit of a reshuffle. It was interesting, though, the fact that Andrew Callaway and Will Jordan were both going to be playing on the right wing for this game, even though both of them played at 15 last game. But New Zealand, their starting lineup, it is Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor and Tyrell Lomax as the front row. De Groot coming back from his injury that left him sidelined for a few weeks. Scott Barrett, the captain, at number 4, with Tupa Vai, who has been in some sensational form, slotting in at 5. New Zealand have the clear advantage when it comes to experience in the locking duo. Question is, can they make the most of that and really get those lineouts dominant? Wallace Satiti at number 6 with Sam Cane at 7, and then Artie Savia slotting in as the number 8. You could argue that Sam Cane is the only man playing in position in that loose forward trio. Satiti normally an 8, Savia normally a 7, but of course Savia spending a lot more time in that number 8 jersey as of late. Cortez Ratama and Damien McKenzie as the 9-10 combination. McKenzie starting at 10 last game up against Australia. Geordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane in the midfield combo with Caleb Clark. Will Jordan no longer on the right wing. The last minute news that Beauden Barrett was unwell. Sevu Reece now finds himself out on that right wing. Will Jordan at number 15, and then that brings Harry Plummer off the bench for New Zealand rather than Sevu Reece. So hopefully that makes sense. We will, of course, be keeping you updated about that situation as the game goes on, whether or not there's any other reshuffles that New Zealand decide to make, which they may, because at the end of the day, now that they've got Harry Plummer as a man off the bench in this game, it means that he could go into fly half. He's played a little bit of 12 for the Blues in Super Rugby Pacific. Maybe that's where we see McKenzie or Barrett drop to 15, something some people have been calling for a little while. We have got there his option, or his position should be in the stand, says Eric. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Beauden, maybe? I'm not sure. I forgot the Rugby Championship. Focus now on the Bledisloe Cup, says KW Stanley. Yeah, it's an important one for both of these sides. They have to make sure that they get this first win under the belt, because if New Zealand win this, they win the Bledisloe. If Australia win this, next week in Wellington gets all that more important. And also, we've got to remember, Wellington is somewhere New Zealand have not had the best record in past maybe 2 or 3 years. Ian Foster's record pretty good. Won both championships, undefeated Northern Tour. Lost by 1 point in the World Cup final, says Dion Sands. And Scott won 3, lost 3, very average, says Dion Sands. Oh, he's won 4, lost 3, I believe, at the moment for Scott Robinson. Not too sure which game you're not counting in your stats. We all thought Robinson would make the All Blacks really great. Says Choke the Woke. And there is still time. At the end of the day, you're in the first year of a new coach. He's still trying to find what works, still trying to find his combinations. I think that once a few more injury player returns happen, then maybe that will help them shore it up a little bit more as well. Have they got the Boeing ready to fly over the stadium during the haka? Says Bruce. Not that I can see. At the moment, finally managed to get it live. That was stressful. Says Squid. TJ Piranata, he is going to be leading the haka. The Aussies looking focused, looking fired up at the moment. This is one of those games, ladies and gentlemen, that even if the Rugby Championship is gone, these two sides seem to be able to bring out an intensity in each other, even though New Zealand often will walk away with that. Bledisloe, TJ, wearing number 21 on his back, which is about as many years as it has been since Australia have got the Bledisloe Cup in their grasp. I just want to very quickly check something. Tom Liner, the young man off the bench for the Australians in this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, he is 21 years of age. He has never seen a Bledisloe Cup in Australia in his lifetime. That is crazy to think. A 21-year-old man has never been able to say, we are holding the Bledisloe Cup, I don't believe. Although it depends on when he was born in that year as well, of course. And cheering for the ABs from Vanuatu. Where is this game being played? It is being played in Sydney at Accor Stadium, or Stadium Australia is what it is also known as. All right, folks, just made it. I was busy watching Northland deal it to Harbour. Says Peter Wild. And listening from Bali, says Greg Thomas in there as well. But it is Kamate for the haka, and it has just finished, ladies and gentlemen, which means we are ready to go. Pasilio Tosi looking fired up. He's looking forward to minutes in this match. And a big cheer from the Australian crowd for the haka. TJ having some wise words to Cortez Ratma, which I hope was not let the ref know you're there by talking to him a lot. How full is the stadium, says Steve Worley. I cannot see at the moment. But once we do see, I will let you know. I'd assume that it will be relatively full for a Bledisloe game, definitely because there are quite a few New Zealanders living in Australia. It's an early afternoon game for the Aussies. A starting player should lead the haka, says KW Stanley. I don't think it matters too much. I think that 23 players who are playing in the game, one of them can do it without too many problems. I feel like trying to make it someone who's in the starting lineup would just call for the wrong selection, because people don't want TJ starting. So if you're in that situation, that would cause a problem. Squid has just donated $8.99 New Zealand. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate it. I don't know why the bottom of your squid is cut off. Luckily, we can see the S. A Kiwi living in Brisbane, and yeah, Accor Stadium was also main arena for the 2000 Olympics, where 100-metre sprint, etc. occurred, converted to rugby and football now. You do some underappreciated work, bro. Keep it up, says Squid. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Now we are ready to go for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know your score predictions in the comments down below. It's going to be an epic one with these two sides going head-to-head. Aussies at $8 good money. And so the crowd shouldn't be too drunk yet, says Eric B. But it is going to be New Zealand kicking this one off from right to left at Accor Stadium. Mackenzie getting us ready to go for Bledisloe Cup match number 1, ladies and gents. And we are now underway, kicking off short for the All Blacks and almost kicking it straight out on the full. In fact, it's going to be a New Zealand line-out. Jeremy Williams claims it and then lands in touch, making a bit of a mistake. It almost was a mistake from Damian McKenzie, almost overcooked the line-out, but it's turned out perfect. New Zealand claimed that one with Scott Barrett. Cortez Ratma across to McKenzie. Already we see a bit of an intensity between these two sides. Fraser McWright putting in a big hit on Geordie Barrett's midsection. McKenzie kicking it in behind, looking for a chip, and it is a nice, well, it should have been an easy catch for Noel Lolesio, but he has dropped it. Tom Wright now will kick it downfield and doesn't manage to find touch. Early mistakes from both of these sides. McKenzie, it looked like he was going to kick it again, but instead runs straight at Nick Frost. Ratama goes across to Ethan de Groot. These are his first minutes for the All Blacks since his neck injury. Ratama goes off to the left-hand side, Barrett in behind to Will Jordan. McKenzie, skip pass out to Caleb Clark, running straight at Andrew Callaway, who has managed to take him down. Cortez Ratama goes across to Kane, in behind to McKenzie. Satiti manages to find the offload to Barrett, who gets a bit of open space, but he's tackled there by Taniela Tupou. Again, New Zealand shifted to the right-hand side. Skip pass out to Sevu Reece, who needs a massive game here if he wants some sort of chance of getting in the starting lineup. Will Jordan goes straight through the gap, pins his ears back and scores between the posts for New Zealand within the first 90 seconds of the game. And defensively, it seems like the Wallabies, that gap that Argentina were able to find so many times, has just been exposed once again. But I mentioned about it before the game as well. Will Jordan, I think that him getting to find out that he's going to be fullback at the last minute is actually much more beneficial than when his name is on the sheet from the get-go. He hasn't had time to overthink it. Instead, he's had time to get focused, get ready, and score in the first 2 minutes of the first Bledisloe Cup match. Good start, lad, says KW, and this is going to hurt. Says the big V8 showing good morning. Says the checker there. And that was fast, says Joke the Woke. A nice pass from Tupovai, and then that gap was just there. Nick White as well as Tom Wright both tried to catch up with him, but they just could not. The pace of the man, says Rodney, pure pace through the middle. And now that one is going to be 7-0 for New Zealand. 34 in his career for Will Jordan. That is his third of the Rugby Championship. That was too easy, says Salah. And now it's kicked off by Australia here. Nicely taken by Jordan Barrett, or Geordie Barrett, I should say. Catching it above his head. Not even bringing it into the chest. Tyrell Lomax going off to the right-hand side. Cortez Aratama has the ball there ready for the box kick. A good try, ABs. Let's go on, boys. That's going to be kicked high from Cortez Aratama down towards the halfway line. Well taken this time by Noah Lolesio. Now, almost knocked backwards by Nick White. Rieko Ioane gets into the breakdown, wanted the turnover, sweeps it back onto the side of the All Blacks, and they have now managed to get another turnover. Damien McKenzie going across to the left-hand side. Savia in open space finds McKenzie. Then Barrett Jordan goes out to Caleb Clark. Bumps out of one. Valentini drags him down. Ball's available there for Ratama. 25 metres out from the line now. New Zealand looking to get their follow-up try. Lomax, though, has had the ball stripped. In fact, it's called as a knock-on. Now, running forward, Tom Wright. Nick White going back across to the left-hand side. Not Alessio. No, in fact, it's Len Ikitau. Tried the kick. It's charged down by Tupovai, and they'll go back now for the scrum. Early days, says Joke the Woke. And happy Saturday, good morning from a Springbok supporter. The All Blacks are weak. All Blacks win. Oh, sorry, the Aussies are weak. All Blacks win 42-10. And good evening, Hamish, says Zion. Welcome in, and Barrett just tackled Clark, says Rodney. Yeah, he did in the end. He pushed him down, although I think Valentini was trying to go for that rolling maul. Lomax just having that ball stripped. Repeat of 2000 game, says KW Stanley. South Africa 37 wins against New Zealand. New Zealand 63 against South Africa. Not to mention most of your wins came out at the time where Māori were not allowed to tour or play. History is important, says Dr. Pooh. Hamish scrolls say Jordan has 1 inch, says Peter Wild. First scrum of the game, 5 minutes in. And the far side has gone down. That is Taniela Tupou as well as Ethan de Groot. Now, this will be a big test for de Groot's neck because he's going up against a guy like Taniela Tupou who has a huge amount of power, huge amount of size about him. And off the bench, of course, we're going to see Slipper and Alalatoa. Trying to think, the last game Alalatoa played in, it might have actually been up against New Zealand last year where he suffered the injury. Australia need a decent defence. If you ain't scoring that you mustn't concede. Keep attack simple, concentrate on defence. You'll win games, defence wins games. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They have conceded a lot of tries. 9 last week. And then alongside that, that's going to be knocked back into the hands of Australia. They have got themselves another attacking chance. Tom Wright goes on the outside. Marika Kurumbetti drops the ball. Then Rico follows suit. And it's going to be the scrum feed now for New Zealand. Can we hurry up and buy every URL contract? FFS? URL, are you talking about NRL contract? Maybe? But yeah, for the Australians, they are the only side in the Rugby Championship who have not scored more than 10 tries. And in fact, they're hardly even close. They've only got themselves 6 throughout the early stages of the competition. Watching from a P&O cruise ship, 1980s theme cruise floating party, says Steve Taylor, I should say. Well, hopefully you are having an absolute blast. Whereabouts are you in the world at the moment, Steve, on the ship? I think it's about time we call Bledisloe Cup to the AB's Cup, yes. Says G-Man. Now, it's going to be Cortez Ratama to feed this ball in for the All Blacks. Big scrum coming from, I think it was Australia actually who got the better shove in that one. New Zealand going slightly backwards inside ball to Damien McKenzie from Geordie Barrett. Ratama again going short side, finds Cody Taylor who had some great running meters up against the Springboks in the last fixture. Here comes Wallace Satiti. Good leg strength and drive from him. Ratama off to Barrett. We talked about it all week, how big of a game Scott Barrett needs here up against Australia. McKenzie puts it high. Now Reese chasing after it, doesn't get to him. Marika Kurumbetti almost tackled by Geordie Barrett, but they've missed the tackle on him. Now fend on Cody Taylor, who eventually drags down Marika Kurumbetti. Mentioned about how he was the only player who did score, who is playing in this current game, I should say, from last time these two sides met. The Bledisloe Cup is officially NZ Cup. It feels like it's going to be a long day for the Wallabies, says JW Learning. Although, to be fair, they've already... Oh, that's a good shot from Harry Wilson on Will Jordan. Yeah, they've already made a couple adjustments compared to when they conceded a try. Big run from Caleb Clark. Finds the offload to Satiti. And now 45 metres out from the line. Ratama with the pick and go. He had McKenzie with him. Didn't need him. Pass on the outside. Ioane's going to score. He hasn't scored in so long, Rico Ioane. But he's got one for the All Blacks. He'll be able to thank the teammates for that one. Sometimes you just need a run. And I feel like, I don't know, that's just a surprise that he's actually scored a try. 8 minutes into the game. And New Zealand now have their second. The try drought is over, says Vic Mars. Or Vic Mars, I should say. But yeah, pass on the outside from Cortez Ratama. And Rico, tell you what though, if you've gone so long without scoring, put it down with 2 hands, you know. I know he likes to score them with 1, but just watching him do it there, does he not remember the last time he did that in a Bledisloe game and it almost cost them? Okay, commentary says Eric B. And well, Jordan first try, and Kurumbetti needs to learn how to tackle and catch. Says bottom and green, it's over, and Rico scored on the wing there. That's true. That is another big talking point, I guess you could say. A good kick from McKenzie has gone over the post, and that is now going to make the score 14-0 for New Zealand. Nah, says Jason Hill. I'm not sure what nah was for. We have got there, this will be 50, says JW. But it's a good bit of play from New Zealand, just keeping that ball moving. And that's the problem. When they start flowing like they did there, it's very hard to mark everyone. And Australia found that out. And yep, no risk, no worries. Slow down, boys. It's only Aussie, says Spider Mick. One moment, we'll go like that. There we go. We have fixed it. I was lagging a little bit. AB's 50 plus today. Nice, Wallabies. Your plan worked perfectly. 5 more players like Falau and enjoy the result. AB's going to smash them in next week, says Heinrich. What they're doing to Ioane should be considered a crime, says a JP. This ends up being a hiding. You reckon Schmidt holds on to his job? It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Australia have sacked so many coaches, yet none... Oh, that's a penalty to New Zealand. And off his feet was Nick Frost entering through the side as well. Rico is a winger, says KW Stanley. Don't get so excited, boys. You're playing a blind school, says Frank. I told you Rico would get a try sheet, earning his vape, says War One. But now McKenzie again will have another chance to kick this one towards the touchline, already leading 14-0 at this stage of the match. Question now is, can the Wallabies keep the ABs under 100? I'd like to think so. If we look at the amount of time gone, Oh, yeah, nah. That was a hard one on Wallace Atiti's knee. He was trying to join the breakdown. The worst thing is Australia were in possession at the time. Cody Taylor now, line out throw. Going to the back, and it is, well claimed from Wallace Atiti. It looked like Australia were going to have a decent shot. Here comes Rieko Ioane again. Just needed a try to, oh no, he's thrown an interception pass, and now Australia are on the attack. Never mind. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Now Fraser McWright going off to the right-hand side to Angus Bell. But Australia under all sorts of pressure in the breakdown. It's frustrating to watch, says Salah. Australia's just warming up. They're about to thrash the AB, says Stefan. I mean, Australia know better than anyone in just the last little while. You can be up by 20 and still lose a game by 40. So this one is not over, ladies and gentlemen. Nicely taken by Damien McKenzie on the halfway line. Bump off from Ethan de Groot on Fraser McWright. Now Ratama going off to the left-hand side. Jordan cross to Rieko Ioane. He's decided to have another run, which is something we haven't seen a huge amount of from Ioane. Maybe it's just because he hasn't had that space to be able to do so. Ratama once again gets that ball across to Damien McKenzie and behind to Geordie Barrett. One more on the outside, Savia. The fact that the All Blacks have been dominant throughout this first 12 minutes and we've hardly even seen that man tells you exactly how well most of the ABs are playing at this point. Scott Barrett, another great run for Cortez Ratama. Goes across to McKenzie. Clark behind to Will Jordan. Ioane on the outside. Passes to Taylor. Moves up to 25 metres out from the Wallabies line. McKenzie across to Lomax. The rush defence from Wilson does not work as it is great hands from the All Blacks. Sam Cane protecting that ball extremely well. Cortez Ratama gets the offload to Barrett. Now McKenzie has a little show and go. Gets it out to Artie Savia, who tries to get rid of Nick White. Forward pass to Severis on the outside. And they will go back for the scrum. Referee seeing it straight away. Ethan de Groot about to have a run-in. Says Squid. Like I've just said, the All Blacks have decided to just play this game at a tempo that they haven't really found throughout the rest of the Rugby Championship. Now, something else to mention is, could it be because they want to give their bench a bit more time? We look at those last few games, we've seen players coming on the field in the 76th minute asked to change the game. If these guys are emptying the tank now, perhaps we see some subs at around 60 metres. I'm just here to catch up with the UFC halftime show, says Adult Entertainment. And we've talked about quite a bit of UFC lately on the channel. And Wallabies defence is ordinary, says JW. Yep. And there is a reason they've conceded so many tries throughout this Rugby Championship. And unfortunately for them, it has just been shown many times that once a side starts attacking them at pace, Australia seem to get a little bit lost in the defence. But Nick White taking that quick tap off the back of the scrum from the free kick for Australia. They are now in possession. Nick White goes across to Harry Wilson. Got the offload away to Nick White again. Marika Korombeti, great chop and tackle from Rieko Ioane. Interception. Caleb Clark steals the ball from the Harry Wilson pass. McWright almost able to get the turnover. Barrett looping around, finding Wallace Atiti. At the moment, Australia can only find 3 or so phases before they lose that ball. Rieko Ioane passes out wide to Cody Taylor. Tries to put his foot down, but Leonard Katau is there to tackle him. Severis falling backwards. Gets the pass away though to Will Jordan, who steps through. Tackled by Taniela Tupou. McKenzie cross to Geordie Barrett again. Now the chance on the outside. Wallace Atiti out to Clark. It's 2-on-1. And he's got the ball over the line, Clark. Great finish from the left winger. And that is now the 3rd for New Zealand now. 15th minute of the game. New Zealand have already theoretically got the bonus point if Australia don't score any more tries in this one. I wonder what exactly is in the contract of the current Wallabies coach. He decides to give up and leave, says Albert. It's going to be a whitewash, says Aaron. And absolute slaughter, says Joralt in there as well. But out to Caleb Clark. He had a lot of work to do. He had Tom Wright in front of him. He had Angus Bell on him. And they've gone over. Defensively, though, just players getting lured into the wrong positions, leaving gaps open. And great finish from Clark to get his hand out and finish that one off for the 3rd try of the match now for New Zealand. Stop the game, says Sebu. And that one has gone over for Damian McKenzie. 21-0 now for New Zealand. But Caleb Clark, that is his 4th try of the Rugby Championship. I believe he is still right up there in terms of the leading try scorers. Tom Wright defensively here, I have to say, has been poor. He hasn't really stopped anyone. He left the gap for Will Jordan to run through. He wasn't able to stop Caleb Clark when he was 10 metres out from the line. And now 21-0 at the moment. Okay, there go the All Blacks. And also we have their Wallabies gone down now, says Sierra. Going to be kicked off again now, not claimed cleanly by the All Blacks. Their first real mistake, you'd have to argue, of the day in terms of something that could cost them badly. Australia trying to get their counter ruck going. New Zealand managed to keep it on their side. Tyrell Lomax only 2 metres out from his own goal line here. New Zealand will have to look for the clearance. Hello there, Hamish Cricker of the game. AB's got this one in the bag. And do your scoreboard, says Vaughan. And there, only if you say please, Vaughan. But now 17 minutes into this game and it has gone into touch. Australia consider going for the quick cat, or quick throw-in, I should say. Get it out of there. Says Nomana Major and Lakai together. It's a combination I'd love to see. It's actually a combination that I went with in my XV from a while ago. We're going to have one after the Rugby Championship as well, in terms of the guys who aren't in the squad as well that we'd like to see added. That's a great inside ball. Valentini goes off to Fraser McWright. The Aussies are through, and they will get their first try of the contest. Now the comeback is on, ladies and gents. I'm going to spend a lot of my day trying to update who has scored all the tries for these two sides, it would seem. This time it is Fraser McWright. He has scored it in the 17th minute of this contest. Already 4 tries in this game, ladies and gents. But great inside ball. Valentini to Nick White, who then found Fraser McWright and does help them get back into the game. And at least they're on the board, and yeah, go the Wallies. An easy try for the Wallabies, and I really feel bad for the Wallabies. Says late 2 there. Don't feel bad for them too soon. They just got themselves their first try. They love cricket. Says Evil Kicks Money. It's almost the start of cricket season here in New Zealand. Fraser McWright, he'll be happy with that one. Joe Schmidt, as happy as he can be, being 21-0 down at the time, but now kick for Nola Alessio straight out in front of the post and does add the extra 2, which now makes the score 21 points to 7. And game ain't over. It's our complacency that can make us lose. That was a really soft try, says JP. Yeah, just a really good set play from the Australians, the inside ball, but it was all from the mistake off kickoff for New Zealand. They weren't able to claim it. They had to clear their lines from only just out from their goal line. If they stop the game now, their score doesn't look too bad, says Albert, but it's going to be kicked off again. And this time Australia are unable to secure their line out. Now, Cody Taylor's claimed that, but I think he was in front of the man who did initially touch the ball. So, not sure what will happen there. But Geordie Barrett sitting 30 metres out from the Wallabies line now. Now, Cortez Aratama in behind to McKenzie. Skip past Lomax. Finds Jordan. Oh, he hits Cody Taylor in the head with it. And there was a croc roll from New Zealand. Yeah, croc roll from New Zealand, which gives Australia the penalty. It was from Ethan de Groot. I'm new Peter is mentally ill, says Kevin, or Evil. Interesting. And thanks for, where'd that go? It's going very quickly. And thanks for doing the commentary, bro. Watching live in the stadium and listening. Says NK. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. You're probably a little bit ahead of myself in that regard. And now they're just going to show it here. The way he rolled, it did look, oh no, it was Rico rather than Ethan de Groot. And we have got a gifted membership from Arthur Harrison as well. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated there. Now, line out throw. Australia currently with the best line out in the whole competition with 90.2, and they've just lost the line out. I really do apologise for jinxing them there. Cortez Ratama goes across to Cody Taylor. Now, Ratama, it looks like they're going to roll this one back for the ABs. They've decided to go for a kick instead, trying to put it just outside of the 22. Caleb Clark chasing after this one, and he's got it as well, Clark. That is a phenomenal catch from the left winger in some great form. Tyrell Lomax. Now New Zealand only sitting 20 metres out from the line. Barrett going to the short side. Vai with some good hands. We've got another gifted membership from Arthur as well. Thank you very much, mate. Ethan de Groot now. 15 metres out, but that is a phenomenal catch from Caleb Clark. Now moving forward just that little bit further, thanks. I think you got Kiwi Lad, says Albert. And there Lomax passes them behind to McKenzie. Now Jordan to Tupavai. He's really taken on that number 5 role and done extremely well in the last little while. Kutes Ratama again goes across to Ethan de Groot. Now Ratama with the sniping run, goes round the side, finds the offload to Barrett, who tried the quick hands, but he finds Nick Frost, the Australian. Now Nick White is going to roll this one back. It looks like either him or one of the men in the pocket will be kicking this one towards the touchline. What a fine Vai has been. Who would have thought he'd be our form lock? He's one of those guys that only, I don't know, during Super Rugby, during last year, people were saying maybe he shouldn't be there, whether or not he's good enough. But it just shows the difference, doesn't it, in terms of what a short amount of time can do for a player in terms of confidence as well. If you can't get me out in 10 overs, you owe me a keg, says Jason Hill. Right. Okay. Bit of cricket talk. Sam Cane. Oh, that's a good shot coming in from Nick Frost. But Cortez Ratama goes off to Rico Ioane. Again decides to straighten with his run. He's got a real burst of pace for this game, it would seem. Here comes Wallace Satiti. Tackle well by Faisler as well as Valentini. Artie Savia stepping around Harry Wilson. Now Sever Reese joins the breakdown. Ratama goes across to Wallace Satiti again. Sam Cane. Got numbers to this left-hand side when they decide to use them. Still 20 out from the line. Ratama goes across McKenzie. Short ball to Caleb Clark. Will Jordan plays halfback. Goes to Taylor from a standing start. And there's going to be a knock on there from the All Blacks. Kick downfield from Fraser McWright, who now gets it in behind Will Jordan, chasing after it. Callaway's got some decent pace. It's a 50-22 from the Aussies. And that is a sensational kick for one that I don't actually think he meant for it to do that. But Fraser McWright kicking it downfield, chasing it hard, and in the end, it just goes there. But yeah, Fraser McWright, that's a 22-22. He kicked it from inside of his own 22, and it's gone right into New Zealand's. He's having a blinder of a game so far, Fraser McWright. But now Matty Faisler going to throw this one in. The last line out was stolen by New Zealand, and that one is no different. New Zealand claiming it 2 in a row now. Cortez Ratama going off to Caleb Clark. Luck, says Jason Hill. I mean, to be fair though, to sink a slipper into it like that, there was space behind, and for New Zealand, it was probably lucky that the ball went out because Andrew Callaway was getting very close to the heels of Will Jordan. Now kicking downfield, Tom Wright does run straight up to the halfway line. Back across to the left. Angus Bell going to Nololisio. Loose ball. Interception thrown. Reese in open space. Marika Koromberi trying to shut him down, but Savia will receive the ball. Reese with the assist, and the All Blacks off one error from the Australians. This is feeling a lot like last week because every time Australia made a mistake up against Argentina in that second half, Argentina went straight through and scored the try. But Savia, this time the man who does score it for the All Blacks. I think we're up to how many minutes are we up to? 25 at the moment, I think we are. This half is going slow but fast at the same time, if that makes sense. Mainly because of all of the extra tries that we have been seeing in the last little while. Put the league on, says Cole. I don't feel like New Zealand are playing that well. The defence is just terrible, says JW Learning. It reminds me of Chris Jack. And now, most tries by a forward for the All Blacks in history. Artie Savia is at the top of the list with 28. That one has gone over, making the score now 28 points to 7. And anything can happen, says Choke the Woke. Rushdie forced the error from Australia. And yeah, just a mistake. It was well done by Marika Koromberi to get back in time to be able to defend, but then great awareness from Sever Reese to go on the inside to Artie Savia. This is like one of those Tier 1 versus Tier 2 matches at the World Cup at a point a minute. Says Michael. And Easy K. And the Kiwi lad are looking like a pilot more than YouTuber less. Says Evil. I'll take it. I just need my pilot's hat, don't I? Now it's going to be nicely claimed by Scott Barrett off the kickoff. 30 metres out from the line. Ratama back to McKenzie. Lomax had the support run away, but he sat down one there. Lomax, great run from the tie here prop. Now into the pocket, McKenzie will sink the slipper into it. Time inside of their own 22. Australia have had 2.5 minutes almost. That one's going to slap straight into Wallace Atiti. It came off his knee. No, it didn't. It came off the hand. Knock on, says Carl Dixon. Australian is bad, lol, says James Eastwood. And looking forward to the Springbok game. Green and gold all the way. Good luck, South Africa, says Ali. And go the All Blacks. We are rooting for you here in South Africa. Time is going to be off for a second. It looks like there's an injury for Angus Bell. Okay, Carl Dixon just telling Ethan de Groot something at scrum time. This looks like a school game. And hello, says Ahmad. Welcome in, mate. You are keeping well. 26 minutes into this contest at the moment, and the score 28 points to 7. Australia still injured from the Pumas, says Draw a Fan. ABs need better opposition to become a top side again, says Arthur. And I know, we're not all rooting for the ABs in South Africa, says Lillian. Does anyone bet on rugby matches? Quite a few. We've had a lot of people popping into streams and asking us who's going to win games and what the score's going to be because they've put bets on it. Uncontested scrums yet? Not yet, no. Still got plenty of spare props off the bench. And you get a lot of viewers, Hamish. Or you get a lot of viewers, Hamish. That's awesome. Says Choke the Woke. Yeah, I'm very appreciative of the amount of people who tune in for these live streams. At the end of the day, like, we've done this a little while, you know, and I'm surprised people haven't gotten sick of me yet, is pretty much the gist of it, because we did all the World Cup games. We've done the July internationals. We're going to be doing the November internationals, which I can see it. Says Jason Hill, it is on Sky Sport 1 here in New Zealand as your best option, or Prime, I think, afterwards. I think it will be delayed. Nick White now going to be feeding this ball in, and that is going to be now the penalty to New Zealand. That far side going down. Ethan de Groot was getting talked to by the referee, so was Taniela Tupou. I'm actually mad at Rugby Australia now as a result of years of management. Says JW. And yeah, just going down, not being able to hold de Groot up there for Taniela Tupou. Sasha the Ronaldo of World Rugby. And please put your dad on if you need a bathroom break. Says Letu. Now Cody Taylor getting ready to throw this one in for the All Blacks. They are 30 metres out from the Australian line, which does not take away the chance of another try coming in the very near future. Cortez Ratama goes across to Geordie Barrett, runs it straight at Fraser McWright, which at the moment seems to be one of the only active players in this Australian side defensively. Tupavai, tackled by Paisami, round the side of the breakdown with the pick and go from Artie Savia, getting a few extra metres for the ABs. Cody Taylor with the pick and go there as well. Taniela Tupou locking over the ball, and Tongan Thor wins the penalty for Australia. Hamish, people seldom sicken of a good thing. Your channel is a very good one, mate, in my opinion. Says Kerno Wick, thank you very much, mate. Oh yeah, we've got plenty more coming up. Like I mentioned, the November internationals we are going to be covering on the channel. Next week's games we are covering as well. And then later on today at 10 p.m. New Zealand time, we are going to have the matchup taking place between Japan and Fiji. 2 a.m. we are going to be covering the Currie Cup final. And then the next game after that we are doing is the Springboks versus Argentina game, kicking off at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, but we're starting at 8. Nicely claimed for Australia now at line-out time. Latimer status, please. Who's Latimer? We talking about Ratama or someone else that I'm not aware of? Now Nick White going across to the right-hand side. Hunter by Sami going to Nololisio. Over the ball there, Wallace Atiti. But they'll go back for the original knock-on. Fraser is a beast. Only decent Wallabies forward. Says Arthur Morgan. New Zealand making meters with ease, and give Hamish a like, guys. Here's Springbok. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a like on this live stream. Good morning, Hamish. Hope you're wearing pants today. I am not, no. I got shorts on again. I feel like the funny thing is the shirt stays the same each of these live streams. I changed the tie today, which I don't think anyone really noticed, but I changed the shorts on every live stream. So today they're like I think these are swimming trunks, to be honest. Would you like in the Currie Cup final? I'll put $20 on it. I do not want to try and tell you, because if they lose, then I feel bad. This is a sad no contest. Should they even come to Wellington, I'd like to see them in New Zealand. Now, going to be nicely claimed off the back of the scrum. Nick White goes to Marika Kurumbetti, who gets hit hard by Cortez Ratama, who has just injured his shoulder in the process of the tackle. Knock on from Australia. Cody Taylor claiming that ball inside of their 22. Passes on the outside. Bounce pass to Rico Ioane. Where's Ratama and how is his shoulder? Might have just got a stinger, but he's forced into touch there, Ioane. You my main dude now, says Jason. Ratama's status, well, he was injured just before, but I think he's all right. Looks like he was grimacing as he made his way to ground. Great commentary, says Vaughan. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, he's put in a big shot on Marika Kurumbetti, which is something you don't normally see from the big guys on the field, let alone the halfback. Little flat pass at the start of the line out there for the Wallabies. What's happened there? The ball didn't travel the 5 meters, they've just said. And I've won the Bledisloe 10 times since I was born. And bro, please let me know, have the uncontested scrums been activated yet? They have not, no. It is still going to be scrummaging because they still have all their props available. So far, Ratama is killing it. Says Rodney, New Zealand kicking it high. Of course, off a free kick, you are not able to take a scrum anymore. That's going to be well claimed by Tom Wright. Australia now in position 30 metres out from their line. Taniela Tupou, the big man, just sits down Geordie Barrett and gets landed on as well in the process there, Barrett. Of course, only one of the 2 Barretts that are playing in this game. We'll just have to take a word for it. Mr. No Pants, says Albert. It's going to be kicked high by Australia, looking to play the territory game. It's well taken by McKenzie, but another huge hit coming from Harry Wilson. He loves smashing players when they're landing from going up for the high ball. He does it consistently for the Reds as well. Oh, nice sell at a dummy from Ratama. Turns it into an attack for the All Blacks. Thought about going for the attack, and that might backfire. McWright not quite able to keep the feet underneath him. Wins half time, probably another yellow. Still another 7 minutes left. Caleb Clark chasing after that one. That time he's knocked it on. Wasn't able to get it as cleanly. Tom Wright going through again. Massive space opening up for the Wallabies 15. Couldn't quite link up though with Marika Kurumbetti. New Zealand giving away the penalty. Not being able to roll away there for Will Jordan. Then Vai and Taylor both getting in there. Just realised what happened to Bodie playing fullback. He ended up sick this morning. So Will Jordan went to 15. Several Reese went to right wing. And then Harry Plummer actually going to get the debut off the bench. And don't know why the Wallabies kick the high ball when their chasers don't jump to make the claim, says Arthur. That is a very good point. It seems to be that they're trying to play that territory, but they never have someone who's actually going to get it. Amos should go bottom formal. We won't know. We'll sit there with a guilty smile. Says Grant, no, I can guarantee you this is not very formal. I look like if I was to jump into a pool, I would be appropriately dressed on the bottom half. Wilson smashing it. And up the AB, says James Richard. Is he trying to kick a drop kick, says Josh. I'd like to think that they wouldn't try a drop kick at this stage of the match, definitely because they're down by 21. Nicely claimed by Nick Frost, and now the rolling maul for the Australians has begun. It's the first real sign of a rolling maul that we've had throughout this fixture. It's going very nicely for Australia. They have been told to use it once, though, and Carl Dixon will not mess around if Australia don't make any more meters. They have to use it. Nick White's been told to use it. They're still moving. This is going to become the All Blacks ball here. And yes, it is. Australia taking too long to be able to use it. Nick White is saying that they're coming in the side, but he was told to use it. He says we're still moving forward, even though they were at a standing halt at that moment. He just said someone's come back in front of him. SABC2 showing the final also. Hamish, how are you? Says professional security. I'm doing very well, mate. Hopefully you are also doing well. Plenty of rugby taking place throughout the next about 15 hours or so. We are going to be covering a majority of it on the channel as well. How disappointing, says Salah. Have you got long grey socks and sandals on? Nah, I got the black socks on today. And that is not biased at all. That's just the colour of socks that I had. And no, Nick the ref is always right, says Albert from New Zealand, for New Zealand from South Africa. So here's Ben Brits there. We are covering the Currie Cup final between the Lions and the Sharks for the South African game, and then also South Africa versus Argentina. Don't watch much Super Rugby, Ruben Love or Harry Plummer? Depends, because both of them play different positions. So that's like saying Cody Taylor or Ethan de Groot. You know, you gotta work out exactly what position you're looking at. Nick White is going to piss the ref off. I'm sure him and TJ are cousins, says Vitamin Green. And just turn it over again. You're sweet. And go the Sharks. So far, scrums one off their own feed. We have seen 2-1 by the Australians. They've also lost one off their own feed, though. New Zealand, they have got the possession. They've gone down, and the penalty goes the way of Australia. Knee down from Ethan de Groot. Is Bowden Barrett playing? He is not. He was pulled out late of this contest because of sickness. Hamish looks like he'd wear a suit with jandals. Maybe with scuffs. I don't really have jandals that I know of, but scuffs I'd wear. What else? Oh, slides. I think people call them slides in different parts of the world. Okay, I thought they were both utility backs. Got it, says Arthur Morgan. So, a little bit. Like, Ruben loves more 15, but Plummer doesn't really play a lot of 15. He's more fly half or centre. But overall, like, off Super Rugby form, I'd probably say Plummer, just because of what he was able to do to help the Blues get themselves that title. But, yeah, it is an interesting one. I'd like to see them both in the lineup eventually, if it was a possibility. What do you think would happen when Cam Roygaard comes back? I think that the All Blacks, oh, that's a great run. And that is the try there for Matt Faisler. New Zealand not defending well at line-out time. And the Aussies have got another try just before the halftime break. It is Matty Faisler who manages to do it. It was soft from the AB's defence. A missed tackle. Who was it? Who missed it? We're going to see it now. Sam Cane, missed tackle, gets right through him and scores the try. We'll go like this, and we'll go like that. There we go. The try conceded right near the end of the first half. Abby's let in very soft tries. Yeah, and it's mainly off that line out. And great commentary, Hamish, thank you. All Blacks playing well, and the Wallabies have done some good work too, and AB's let in very soft tries, and that AB's defence was terrible, says JW. It just shows you the importance of one tackle, doesn't it? Because Sam Cane missing that tackle, all of a sudden that gap opened up massively. That kick has gone over from the sideline, 28 points to 14 now. The score between these two teams, there are still 3.5 minutes remaining in this first half, so plenty of time to be able to get one last chance. Okay, Justin Marshall is blaming someone for not being tight enough to the ruck, but I would say that a missed tackle right next to the breakdown from Sam Cane that then got the guy within a couple metres of the line would have been the big thing that you talk about in that situation. You're the man, Hamish. May God bless you. And the name of Jesus Christ, our Saviour, says professional security. Thank you very much, mate. And been a great servant, however, says Eric B. Now we're seeing a big run forward from the Australians. Can they get themselves one more try before the end of the half, perhaps? Well, we will go like that. We'll go like that as well. There we go. Looking at the odds here at the moment, Australia, yes, they're still considered hugely underdogs, but they're going to be in a decent position if they can score once more before the end of the first half. Johan has said, man, you are a poor commentator. Well, you don't have to listen, Johan. It is a free world. You're not finishing answering the Roygaard question, says Yuppie. That is also because they scored a try. But in terms of Roygaard, like, he'll probably make his way in either for Hotham or Perenara. But now McKenzie on attack again for the All Blacks through the gap. He's got Reese on the inside, but a terrible pass went behind Reese. And now the All Blacks, they've blown another opportunity. They are inside of the 22. And it's Tom Wright. Gets it off now to Rob Valentini. And they'll go back for an original knock-on. Last one, he could be interesting, says Toby. Exactly right. I feel like it's one of those situations that later on in this game, both of these sides have been known for not having the best bench. And if you have that situation, last 20 minutes, it could go either wide open or no one will score. Wise Kane does blow hot and cold so often, Hamish, says Dan Borta. It's a tricky one because he has some really good moments, Sam Cane. That one, like, players miss tackles all the time, but unfortunately when the opposition are only a few metres out from the line, people see that one and go, that was his fault. Like, because like they said, maybe they didn't have enough cover defence in that regard. You are the best commentator, just wanted to get that on the record. A good commentator, mate, don't stress bench press, says NK. Let's watch the game, says Tyrese. That is illegal if I was to show you any match footage. I don't really want to go to prison. They don't let you wear these type of shorts in prison, I can tell you that right now. That sounded a bit weird. I didn't mean for it to, but it did. 90 seconds remaining in this first half. Chance now for Australia again at line-out time. Gosh, good commentary. Says Craig. Sam Cane and D-Mac need to do New Zealand a favour and retire. And we have got there, Johan is delusional. Says Andrew Nell, and never been a Sam Cane fan, says the real Ando. Still 90 seconds. Chance for Australia. The thing is, right, if they score now and convert, they're only 7 down, which is a massive, massive... I mean, it's a massive achievement for the Australians if they get into that position. But New Zealand going for the counter-ruck. They're making it ugly in the breakdown, and Severu wins the penalty. Tom Wright didn't want to release it. And now they've got the chance to kick this one for the corner. I'm also Johan, and I think your commentary is great. Says Johan. Thank you very much, Johan. It would seem some Johans like me. It's just some also seem to not like me very much. Now putting the ball into touch. It'll be about 15 metres out from the line. And then Reese, yeah, he had the ball for half a second. To be fair, he should have been able to rip that out of the hands of Tom Wright, who was lying on the ground. He had the leverage, he had the momentum. Now throwing this ball in, Cody Taylor, almost stolen by Australia, but it's bounced back to Savia, who fends off Bell. 12 metres from the line, New Zealand looking to strike right at the end of the first half. Scott Barrett, big shot on him by Tongan Thor, Taniela Tupou. Cody Taylor, the pick and go, runs into his opposite number, Matt Faisler. Reese making it awkward in the breakdown, actually losing his footing as he was grabbing that ball. Ratama to the left-hand side. There are numbers. Geordie Barrett looking towards the corner. Poor defence from Noel Alessio, just lets him run it in, and Barrett scores right at the end of the first half. I only just finished saying that the Australians had scored at the end of the first half, and now we got another try before the end of it, but that will bring New Zealand up to 33 with the possibility of 35 if this kick goes over. Not all Johans were made equal. Says Grant, and crazy how many people I still don't know streaming any full game on YouTube is illegal. Says Arthur, how is Wallace playing? He's looked really strong so far. But big run from Geordie Barrett, just weak defence from Noel Alessio. Marika Korombedi not able to stop him. Too easy, says JW. Nick White always complaining. Shut up, mate, says Yoza. And we have got there, anyone plays great against a weak team, says Doctor, and very important timing, says Eric B. And there as well. Hang on, big screen. What are we looking at? This one might not stand for Geordie Barrett. TMO. They're checking for a knock-on. Okay. So they're allowed to go back and check up to 2 phases before it happens. They're checking for Severu here. Now, I think he's got control of that. Severu. Oh no, they've called it a knock-on. Okay, it's a no try. How many phases? I think that was the phase before, which does mean that they can go back and disallow a try. We're going to see they were going to show us the replay there, but we don't get to see it. So they still have to go with the scrum because it was before 40 minutes, but no try for Geordie Barrett in this match as of yet. And facepalm, go the mighty All Blacks. Okay, maybe we get this try next time. Some people are never happy, miserable people. And I know, says Dan Borton, Hamish, you're never gonna please everyone all the time. Most of us are more than pleased. That's why we're here. Says Bruce. We have got there, go the mighty All Blacks from the Savia family here in Samoa. Right, we're gonna see it here. We're going to see the replay. Here it is. Here it is. I don't think there's a knock on there. In the replay, he never lost control of that ball. Oh well, that happens every once in a while. We have got there Lolicio. Looks like he should be a great player, but he proves you wrong all the time. Of course, the Wallabies always complain, bunch of fairies. Imagine being a Wallabies fan, says Buffalo there. Looks like the cup is safe, says Ivor. And there as well. I respect always to the ABs from box ball to knock on. No, says Roz, and that doesn't look like a knock on. Yeah, that other angle definitely showed that he never lost that ball. But the first angle did make it look like there was a chance that it was knocked on. But I'm surprised they didn't check more than one angle. But I guess that's just to try and keep the game flowing. Australia, right at the end of the first half, will they kick it into touch? They certainly will. Noel Alessio puts it out. And at halftime in this contest, it will be 14 points to 20 in favour of the All Blacks. We have there, Kiwi lads at the tops for commentary. The first half is stretching, and what's your score guess? My score prediction was 20, what was it? 38-23, I believe it was my score prediction. So it could still happen, but it's unlikely that New Zealand would get in a position where they want to take the 3-pointers, unless, of course, maybe it's just given someone a crack off the kicking tee, such as a Harry Plummer, if he comes on later on. Imagine New Zealand only play rugby. We could pick Benji Marshall or Ruben Wiki or James Fisher over the years, and they would get no chance. They don't send anyone else. They ain't good. Says Gershon, Sup Hamish, says Jam Gamer. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing very well indeed. First half of this contest already in the books. 28 points to 14 for New Zealand over Australia. And, you know, at times it looked like it could have been a lot more. How's the AB scrum, says KW Stanley? Pretty even at the moment. I think both sides have conceded one try. Oh, sorry, not one try, but conceded one penalty at scrum time. What would be your prediction on the first game of South Africa versus the Pumas? I went harsh, and I said 43-15 in favour of South Africa for that one. Great commentary, H says, good. Thank you very much. I say 70 to New Zealand to 24 of Aussie is my prediction. How was that a knock on? Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt from that first angle, even though it didn't look like separation. But then, the other angle just showed there was no knock on whatsoever. TMO already screwed New Zealand. That wasn't even a knock on. Even the commentators said it wasn't. And great commentary, average says Andre. And 2 unconverted tries, 10 points, says Steve. And there as well. That is true, actually, yeah. I just feel like the likeliness is if they're running them in the way that they are, it's going to be a nice, easy kick. I just have that feeling. But, yeah, I might have been a little bit too low in terms of my prediction. I wanted this game to be relatively close, and it could have been if Australia had one more try. Australia going to catch up. Says Nonzia, and AB's flankers up to the challenge. Says KW. And there as well. But looking through at the benches, ladies and gentlemen, because both of these sides, they will have to rely on those benches throughout the last 20 or so minutes of the game. Australia, Brandon Payanga, Mosa, James Slipper, and Alan Alaratoa. Quite a bit of experience across those 3 men. Lukan Salakai Lotto at number 19, with number 20 being Langi Gleeson. Then Tate McDermott, 21, Tom Linar, 22, and then Dylan Peach there as the Australian number 23 for New Zealand. Asafa Moore, Tamaiti Williams, and Pasilio Tosi as the front row replacements. That is a lot of power that New Zealand will have later on in the game. Sanderi and Luke Jacobson, the 2 of the other forward replacements, with TJ Perenara, Anton Leonard-Brown, and Harry Plummer as the number 23 being added in due to the injury, or sorry, not the injury, but due to the sickness we saw of Beauden Barrett, meant that Severy started this game on the right wing, and Harry Plummer takes a spot at number 23. But in terms of players who have stepped up throughout this game, there are quite a few that have had very solid performances. And looking through at this New Zealand side, one player who has thoroughly impressed me that I was a bit concerned about was actually Rieko Ioane. He's had a solid enough game. He's scored 1 try. He's had 47 metres carried. He's had 1 defender beat and 1 clean break, although he has also had someone who's got a few more stats in their favour. That is Caleb Clark. 1 try, 67 metres carried, 2 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks, 1 offload, 1 turnover. He's been extremely strong throughout the 40 minutes. Wallace Satiti having a decent crack. Sam Cane has not had a single run according to the stats of the first half. Mackenzie's had 45 metres and Artie Savia has had the 38 for the Australians. Harry Wilson has made 14 tackles throughout that first half, which is 4 more than anyone else. The next highest is Matt Faisler with 10, and Jeremy Williams then having the 9 alongside Angus Bell. For New Zealand, the most tackles made was Cody Taylor with 5 and Geordie Barrett with 5 as well. So a lot more possession in favour of New Zealand for that first half. Australia still managing to score 2 tries though in the crossfire because there were so many tries and opportunities coming for New Zealand. The point is that the box should put more points on. Says Heaney there. Rico's the best winger though, or is a better winger though. Does this mean Ireland is better than New Zealand because they were able to win the match in South Africa and New Zealand was not able to? Says Yappy. I mean, there are arguments that can be made in most scenarios depending on what narrative you're looking at. You know, like, it's one of those ones that on each given day, yes, you can expect a certain thing from a side, but every once in a while, you're going to see something different. And for New Zealand, you know, they were lackluster in their 2-match series up against the South Africans. They weren't able to find their rhythm, not scoring a single try in the second half. Ireland, they have been doing extremely well away from home in the last little while, whereas New Zealand, they have been struggling away from home. So, you know, it's one of those ones that if it makes you feel better, you could say that. If it's like something that you need to hear. Ireland are insanely good. Exactly right. Like the Irish, I mentioned about it at the start of this live stream. People used New Zealand during the Ian Foster era, losing to Ireland as an insult, but losing to the Irish, you know, like it's one of those ones that they are not the same side that they were 5 years ago. They are incredibly, like, talented and like they were still back there, but they've reached that next level and they've found the chemistry and they've found what works under Andy Farrell. So, you know, they deserve a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. France, another top side. And we talked about it before the live stream about the fact that a lot of sides that some people used to consider easy beats are now right up there in terms of, like, there's about 6 sides at the moment in World Rugby that can beat each other on any given day, which is fantastic to see. And it's also extremely awesome that we've got some sort of competitiveness at the top of the chain. I feel like New Zealand media and some fans are too hard on the All Blacks, says John. And we'll see, mate, says Mr. All-In. France is the game for me, says Mr. All-In. And thanks from Bali. We Kiwis watching you, Ahmed. Says Amanda, thank you very much. And Savas in the chat, I'm missing my point. But no worries, says Heaney in there as well. Looking through at some of the interesting stats, the All Blacks visited the Wallabies 8 times in that first half compared to the 3 that we saw for the Australians. No rush defence, too much space for the All Blacks to run the ball, says Donovan, and New Zealand aimless kicks hurt them. Says Jace there. Hello, the Kiwi lads. Is Kiwi looking forward to the games against the French and the Irish at the end of the year? Or are Kiwis looking forward? I assume that is. I think they are. Like, everyone's got those November internationals in mind about how North versus South is going to go. We've got to remember in terms of the Scott Robertson and Joe Schmidt eras, like with the exception of those July internationals, this is going to be their first tours where they go away. And, you know, it's going to be interesting. Good to see an Arvo game, though. Way better than night games, says Jace. And, of course, we have got plenty more games that we are covering on the channel in the near future, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are covering the Currie Cup final. We are also going to be covering the game taking place between Fiji and Japan. That one is kicking off in just over 3 hours' time. And gonna, woulda, shoulda. If Australia scored 2 tries and convert, they'll be in front. They are far away from that. Good from far, but far from good, says Kirk. And there as well, and All Blacks, I'll go the All Blacks from South Africa, says Tristan. And Gabriel Halal certified. Sneaky says choke the woke. And if Block B team wins in the Argentinian Outback, it would be impressive, says Albert. I'll be honest, I still find it surprising that people call the Springbok lineup that they went with here a B team, because when you look through, like, that's not a B team. Like, yes, they've got a few inexperienced guys in that side, but they're all in the squad for a reason. They're all in there because they have done something brilliant for either South Africa or their URC sides throughout the last 12 months. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it a B team. I think it's a really strong side and possibly what we're going to see for the next World Cup for them in terms of some of those positions. Like, they aren't going to have certain players still available. So it's important that you build that depth and give those younger guys the chance. South Africans don't know the difference between A and B, lol. Says Heaney there. And we have got there Fredo Frogs. Says Fluffy. And people probably hammered that's moaning. Like that, says Ben. South Africans don't know who the top team is. Only the coach does, says Trajan. And there's no Bok V team. Exactly right. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go up against Argentina, who have impressed throughout this rugby championship, managing to beat every side that they have faced at least once. Oh, just the once, to be fair. They beat the All Blacks, they beat the Wallabies. Can they do the same and take down the Springboks? And if they did, like the crazy thing about the world rankings is if Argentina win this game in Argentina, Ireland are number 1 in the world till November. So that's something to look at as well. Australia saved by the bell, says Kirk. The only time you can compare teams is when they play against each other. If you don't know that, you don't understand rugby, says Spock. And Boobers have got nothing to lose, says JW. Yeah, second half, not too far away from starting, ladies and gentlemen. No such thing as a B team. The Box were just lucky, says Letu there. And who cares about the Box today, says David Smith. To be fair, they are playing in about 13 hours. And we are going to be covering that game on the channel alongside the Curry Cup final and also the game between Fiji and Japan. So it's going to be taking place. Let's be honest here, Rossi would not pick this team if it was a final, says Albert. But that's the thing. Like, sometimes tactically, certain sides play better against certain other sides. You know, this might actually be a better lineup and might actually score more points up against Argentina than the side that played the World Cup final would have. You just don't know. It's all theoretical, I should say. And he's got to look towards the future because he can't afford to just play the same guys over and over and over again. You talk about that kind of experience side of things. The most experienced South African side we ever saw lost. So, you know, experience is great, but sometimes it is those young guys who are in form. And that's something that people have been asking for in this New Zealand setup. You know, you're looking at someone like a Sam Cane in that number 7 jersey, but should it be a Peter Lakai? Even though hardly anyone knows who he is. He'd still be, I think, a better option in terms of that long-term goal, which of course is that next World Cup. Well, it's only a 2-horse race, so Argentina do have a standing chance. Says G-Man, agree with you, bro. Says Letu there, and let's go ABs. We have another 40 minutes for more tries, and see you at the 80-minute mark. Koba says Mr. All In. Yeah, do let me know your in-score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. And Japan beat a very experienced Bok team. Just got to say, the match is between ABs and Wallabies. Forget about the Box for the moment, please. Says Heaney. Do you believe the All Blacks are back in top form? I do not know. I think that they've had some good moments in this game, but I still think that there are certain things that they do need to work on. They have been clinical at times, but they haven't been very good defensively just out from their own line. So I feel like that is something that they'll definitely want to make sure that they shore up a little bit before heading into those November internationals. But in terms of the Bledisloe Cup, they're in a good spot because they're up by 14. Slip the ref a check, Mr. Schmitty. Says, you old. And also All Blacks 40, All Blacks 65, Australia 40, 55-21 for New Zealand, 53-21, says Phil. 42-19. So a few close scores in terms of around that like 20-point margin or 25-point margin, I think is more the one that everyone's going. You should co-join the Bok versus New Zealand commentary team, says the online business coach. I don't think they'd want me to be fair. Like, so I'm happy doing it on YouTube. Australia paying 15 at the half and would like to see the boys add more points second half and correct some mistakes. And tempting, says Radman there. South Island is bare per capita, to be honest, but that kind of response tells me it hit home. If it hits holler, you feel, lol, that's truth. Be lucky we play league, says Kershaw. Okay, worst All Blacks Rugby Championship or Tri-Nations coming up this year, says Choke the Woke. I think in 2 years' time, and when Razor has selected and changed new talent, his journey begins to greatness. But now, second half, not too far away from starting up, ladies and gentlemen. Do let me know who you think will score the first try. We saw Will Jordan score within 90 seconds in that first half. See whether or not it will be the case in the second. New Zealand having 60 rucks compared to Australia having 23 throughout the first 40 minutes. A lot of visits to the opposition, 22. Australia lost 3 of their own line-out, which is a substantial statistic because going into this match, they had the best line out of the whole competition. Jordan Satiti says roof there. Now we are ready to go for the second half. Both sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel. James Slipper will slip in a try first. And we have got their Australia developing. Aussies just give them 6 months. They'll be ready for the Lions, says Gavin. Can't believe we're getting spanked by one of our own states, says your old shagger. And we have got there sometimes when I feel naughty, I sleep with the curtains open. Interesting. So that probably wouldn't work for myself because I have to sleep during the day on the weekends because of all the late night streams. So I think I'll be sleeping between like 12 and 6 p.m. tomorrow. That's the next time I get a snooze. All Blacks need to get their stuff together, says Mark Payne. And even though New Zealand... Oh, hang on. Geordie Barrett, knee injury. Anton Leonard-Brown has now made his way onto the field, ladies and gentlemen. So he will be playing inside centre in the second half. But that is a bit of a concern for Geordie Barrett, I would think. It's going to be kicked off now, though. Second half underway for the Bledisloe Cup, and it's nicely taken by Tupavai, who claims it just inside of the All Blacks 22. And what score will the Aussies get against the Lions next year? 3 tests, right? I believe it is, the 3 tests that they are going. Hamish, when are you going to fill in your beard, says David? When it grows. Fun fact. Until then, I just have to sit and wait, don't I? That one's going to go into touch. Going to be a line out here for the Australians, 25 metres out from the line. And a chance for them to be able to attack with that line out, which has already got them 2 tries so far. And we have got there, well, in your own same level. Why can't you play league as well? Says Gersha. Now that one's going to be looped over the top. A little bit of a mistake from Marika Kurumbeti. Again has dropped the ball. Hi, Hamish, are you well? Says Dylan, I am well, thank you very much. Why are our clearance and exits play so poor lately? Says Yowza. Yeah, they are putting themselves under pressure, the All Blacks. But then just a mistake coming from Marika. Hands have let him down. I believe that's a second or third drop so far throughout this game. Yeah, Anton should have started, says Mark Payne. Oh. Okay, Tamaiti Williams is back on the field too. They have decided to give Ethan de Groot the 40 minutes and then make that change early to give Tamaiti Williams some game time up against the Australians. Now, I believe he's going head-to-head with Taniela Tupou in those scrums. I urge you Kiwis to support our countryman Mark. We moved to Mexico on his channel. He is great. Says Esbok. That one's going to go down now. Carl Dixon asked for the reset. 6 a.m. says Joke the Woke. And Aussies have players, but execution is panicky, says Gavin. And bring on Tossi, says Mark Payne. Yeah, I don't think he'll be a mile away, to be honest. Oh, the ball, you idiot, says your old shagger. And also we have got the As Rugby Union dead in Australia. Are there people still interested in it? I think that there are, even though, yes, there's been some very bumpy roads for the Australians recently. Like, the crowd look relatively full for this one, at least from what I can see. Yes, there'll be a few All Black supporters who are in the stands for this one, but, like, overall, I feel like there's still a little bit of hope. Although that game last week, I think, hurt quite a bit, losing by 40 points to Argentina. Big scrum from Australia, but New Zealand get the advantage there. Now Ratama goes off to McKenzie. Chiefs combination working with Anton Leonard-Brown on the outside now to Rika Ioane, and that will be the penalty to New Zealand. Noah Lucio has been penalised yet again. AB's defence is very poor, says Marcus. Rugby is trash and boring sport. NRL is more entertaining, says Drizzy Goat. You probably should have said rugby union is trash then, because rugby league counts as rugby, fun fact. And NRL is not a sport, it's a league. But other than that, I guess you could be right. When I'm feeling naughty, I like to go for walks around the neighbourhood, looking through open curtains. Each to their own, I guess. Just don't get caught, I guess is the big advice. Try time, says Jam Game. It's going to be thrown in over the top. Cody Taylor sits up for Anton. Leonard-Brown tries to step. That will be 20 metres out from the line. Artie Savi, I thought about the inside ball, but instead will take the contact. Ball is loose, picked up on the ground by Matt Faisler. And it's going to be now a chance about 20 metres out from the line. Shaking a baby. Says Reese Bell there. They're going to take the 3. Yes, they are. Oh, my score could still be on. I predicted 38 points to 23. There's still a slight chance. Maybe. Yeah, plays the ball on the ground there. Matt Faisley wanted to get it. Isn't allowed to. Bledisloe used to sell out Sydney, especially with expats, Kiwis in the crowd. Not anymore, though, says Arthur Morgan. Who is B-Win? At the moment, the team that B-Win at the moment is New Zealand. Now, Damian McKenzie getting ready to kick this one over, 44 minutes in, and that will now make the score 31 points to 14. New Zealand just taking a slightly safer option, but that's just to stop Australia from getting those 2 converted tries and then ending up in the situation of sitting on the draw. And says Eli there, you ever dropped a baby? Not on purpose. Now, it's going to be on the halfway line. Nick White getting ready to kick this one off for the Australians. And nicely taken again by Tupavai. And about 22 metres out from the line. Taking 3 so negative, says Alan Jackson. I think it's more strategic because at the end of the day, both of these sides have been playing in 7s. So, you get that extra 3, you at least reset and you get yourself just that little bit further ahead. D-Mac looking good so far, says John. Now running this one for Tom Wright. Let's get tackled just inside of the New Zealand half. Alan Alatoa, he is now on the field. Nice run from Hunter by Sami. Leonard Cattell has the men on the outside, but instead will take the contact. It's dragged down by Rico Ioane. Big run from Angus Bell. Did have a bit of an injury earlier on in the game, but does look like he's all right now. Harry Wilson runs straight at Vai. Now White goes across to Fraser McWright. He is one of 2 men who have managed to get themselves the try for the Australians. G'day, Hamish 3 AM here in South California. South Florida. Great commentary. Go the All Blacks, says Eric. Thank you very much, mate, for being here. Alan Alatoa running straight. The defensive line under by Sami extends the forearm at Savia. Now off to the right, Harry Wilson. Big tackle on him by Sam Cane. White again. This is the most phases we have seen from the Australians throughout this game. They are up to 12 in a row. Harry Wilson, another tackle made. Tupa Vai. He wanted the ball. He was told to let it go and listens to the ref. But then I think, did the ref just try and give an advantage? No, he didn't. So it is going to be the penalty to New Zealand. Thanks, guys. It's 4 AM my time. Honestly, if you ask me, league is kind of more bang for your buck. That's why Australia got it right. South Africa rely on things like a scrum and a maul. Other leaguers all go, all show, run it. All Blacks one easy, says Shalom. Long time Aussie never win, says Eli. 12 phases in a row. It's Ardie Savia who manages to lock himself over the ball and get the turnover. Scott Robertson very happy with that one too. Cody Taylor, line out just inside of the All Blacks half. It is overthrown, but nicely claimed by Sam Cane. Ratama goes to McKenzie. Will Jordan on the outside. That man's disappeared since the first 15 minutes of this game. I don't know whereabouts he's gone, but we didn't really see him throughout the second part of the first half. Nick White inside of his 22 has to clear the lines, and it does go into touch just around the halfway line. Australia trying to hold on, but it's over. Respect Aussie. Australia used to be a class team. They used to be great ball carriers. They used to come to Twickenham and give us a good hiding year after year. So here's Neil. That one's going to be nicely stolen by Australia at line-out time. Now Marika Kurambeti gets through the tackle attempt to McKenzie, but he's dragged down by Ratama. Now Lolisio going on the outside by Sami, out wide to Andrew Callaway, who hasn't even had a run of the ball, I don't believe, up till this stage of the fixture. Now off to the left-hand side, McWright goes across to by Sami. Nick Frost tries to run forward, gets driven backwards by Savia, and has a loose ball. Sam Cane manages to jump on it for the All Blacks. Now playing halfback was Tupavai. Leonard Brown puts the grubber in behind. Very strategic one. Reese with the grey hands. Flicked out the back door from McKenzie. He tried to be too fancy and can't find the hands of, I want to say it was Leonard Brown, who was there on the inside. 9 AM in South Africa, says Dylan. What the hell, McKenzie, says Yowza. Yeah, that is a massive opportunity blown for the All Blacks. A great kick from Anton Lienert-Brown. In fact, it was the big man to Mighty Williams, and it just goes behind him. And those passes either work or they don't, says Heaney. And what am I watching, says JP. Out the back door, oh my days, says Dylan there. Now Cody Taylor, another line-out throw here for the All Blacks. Nicely taken by Tupavai. Out line-out time. Now rolling more, not really going anywhere as of yet for New Zealand. And they've got themselves the penalty. They've got their permission to use the back door. Which back door are you talking? We have got there as South Africa. I will support New Zealand, one of my favourite teams, says Pierre. And Damien is trying to be too so fancy. Please take him out of the team. He's not adding positivity to our team, period, says Oswald. Now New Zealand kicking this one towards the touchline. Just outside of the 22, but James Slipper now to make his way on. So he is now the most capped Australian of all time in rugby union. George Gregan was on 139. James Slipper now gets 140. So a history-making moment for that man and the Wallabies. And that's 2 tries. D-Mac is stuffed up by bad passing. Australia not for the 2027 World Cup, says Paul there. Nice short line out from New Zealand. Cody Taylor crunched in the tackle. Mighty Williams goes across to Tupavai. Once again, has been phenomenal throughout the first 50 minutes. Satiti goes across to Lienert-Brown. A lot of Chiefs on the field at the moment, that is for sure. Ratama, another one. Gets it off to Clark, who is chopped down well by James Slipper. Now Ratama again will go to the left-hand side. Lienert-Brown, McKenzie. Skip pass out wide to Tupavai. Well, at this point, deserves a try for how he has played. Cody Taylor. I think I got hair in my mouth. It was a longie. I don't know how that got in there. But nonetheless, 5 metres out from the line. Ratama goes across to Lienert-Brown. Scott Barrett. 5 metres out. Savia to Mighty Williams. Pins his ears back and tries to crash over the line. Savia does the same. Then did he get it down? It was close, but I think they're going to check it. In fact, it was held up, but now they're going to check it just to make sure. There's no such thing as a weak All Blacks side, but it's fantastic to see how they are challenged, and Union is the main course that many people order, while League is that random side dish that only a small group of people know of and order, says Hendrik there. Okay, on-field decision is no try. Okay, that one's up. That one's still up. That's very close, but I think the benefit of the doubt for me doesn't go to the All Blacks here because the on-field is no try. If it's anything like the knock-on we saw earlier that wasn't a knock-on, I believe that this one will not be overall just because you can't see the clear grounding. It looks like it should have hit the ground, right? But I can't guarantee that it actually did. So I think that'll be a no try and it will be held up. Like I said, they have to have conclusive evidence. For me, that's still up a little bit there. South Africa out of Super Rugby and this happens. Says Adam. And their hair got in there through the back door. And no try, says Rodney. So it's going to be no try. Nice one, boys. Who's here? Are you diving? Says Tumi Sung there. A nice one, boys, says Sherwin. 31 points to 14, still the score between these two sides. Agree with you, Adam. Both sides have been very close to scoring on multiple occasions. Oh, Severis managing to keep their ball in the field of play. He's got few players with him, but it looks like he's going to run it himself. Bumps off Fraser McWright. Couldn't get the offload away. Alan Alaratoa going in, trying to cause a disruption at the breakdown. Wallace Satiti now runs straight at Nick Frost. His knees are down. Frost was trying to strip him. Now Ratama again, going off to the right-hand side. McKenzie, Jordan, Kane, out wide to Reese, who has to cut back inwards as he ran out of space near the halfway line. Oh, again, Ratama goes back to Scott Barrett. McKenzie finding his next runner in Anton Leonard-Brown. And just a lure in 3 defenders and the penalty. No clear release from Australia in the breakdown, so it is now New Zealand with another penalty. There's been a lot of them throughout this game. Argentina versus South Africa at 11 p.m. South African time. That is correct, and it is going to be a 9 a.m. kickoff for us here in New Zealand. We are going to be starting our live stream at 8 a.m. though, so be sure to check that out. An overall great host commentary and good show. Kiwi lads going strong. Says Heinrich, and anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we have got more, like I mentioned, coming later on. South Africa versus Argentina, just to name one. We've also got the matchup between Fiji and Japan that has taken place at 10 p.m. New Zealand time, and then also alongside those two, we've got the Curry Cup final taking place at 2 a.m. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now going across there, McKenzie and behind Leonard-Brown. Another good attack and run, Brandon Paenga-Amosa. His first touch of the day, he was trying to get the turnover in the breakdown, but did get pushed off it. Ratama on the short side again. Savia looking to pump his legs, but it's stolen by Wilson. And Australia back in possession now. Paisami on the outside to Ikitau, who will send it downfield on his left boot. It's a decent looking kick as well, and goes into touch, forcing New Zealand back to 40 metres out from their own line. We have there what time is the box versus Argentina. If you're looking at New Zealand time, it is at 9 a.m. New Zealand time. So South African time is 11 p.m. Most of the Northern Hemisphere is relatively late in terms of that kind of 10 p.m., 11 p.m. type of area. Ratama cementing his spot. Yeah, he's had a really solid game, Cortez Ratama, in this fixture. So I'd like to think that that would give them a good sign that those young informed players are the way to go. That's going to be a lost line out from New Zealand. Scott Barrett unable to bring it in. Sam Cane does get right on the ball legally, so they will go back. Oh. Okay, Nick White getting told off by the referee for talking too much. Okay. So pretty much Nick White has just been told that if you scream at me again, I'll penalise you. That's exactly what TJ Perenara has heard in recent times as well. But it is still going to be the Australian ball. D-Mac doesn't inspire confidence in me. D-Mac is not up to test standards, says Mr. Kiwi for life. This is going to be like the Argentina game. Good time, or good start, then nap time. Says Vaughan. It will be a bit of an interesting one. We've still got 26 minutes remaining, and it's the benches that have been struggling for both of these two sides. Okay, Geordie Barrett has come back onto the sideline with a significant knee brace on. So that is not a good sign for Geordie Barrett. Now Nick White, short ball, nicely claimed by Len Ikitau. Wasn't the best pass, but now Nick White going across to Harry Wilson. Tries to get back up to his feet. Scott Barrett has held him down. For Australia, they are not out of this contest yet. They do need a try very soon, though, just to get them there a little bit closer. The ball has come loose. 45 metres out from the line. Callaway looking to shift his way around the All Blacks defensive line, but Barrett manages to shut him down. There is going to be a knock-on advantage. Paenga-Amosa also dropping the ball. So it will now be the scrum for the Australians. How good is Satiti? He's looked really strong throughout this game, although I will say we haven't seen a huge amount of him throughout the last maybe 25 minutes. First 30, though, he was absolutely everywhere. And then it seems to be that once Satiti started slowing down, or in some regards, I think it was once Savia started getting more involved, we saw Satiti take that backward step. But, you know, it's one of those ones that I think both of them are trying to prove why they should be in the starting side, and it's been quite a seesaw between them. And then you've just got Sam Cane in between, who's happy because no one's taken his spot at the moment, unless the All Blacks make a change, such as a Blackadder or a Peter Lakai or a Papali'i. We have got there. Again, tell me, who do you think will win the Curry Cup, please, and I'll decide from there. Says G-Man, well, I can tell you who the favourites are. The Lions are the favourites. They've got a decent side. The Sharks also look really good on paper. So I think it will be quite a close game. It's like Nick Frost, his day is done. He's had a decent performance. Only 24 minutes remaining for Lukan Salakai-Loto to help his side get back into this game. They have not been in the lead throughout this match. A messy, absolutely messy. Consistent players so far, Caleb Clark and Satiti. There's Oswald there. And Springboks 43, 7 for Argentina. Now going off to the left-hand side, Nick White, big attack and run forward from Andrew Callaway. Just need 1 or 2 missed tackles from the All Blacks to open up that chance. There it is. Harry Wilson goes through, but he can't get that next pass away. It was too short, and Noah Lolesio couldn't pick it up. Leonard Brown passes on the outside to McKenzie. They're actually going to have a crack from inside their 22 here. McKenzie gets it off to Jordan. Has Taylor on the inside. Still got the option of going to Taylor, who is now charging forward. He's got Ratama with him. Fends off one, fends off another, and scores the try for the All Blacks. They have gone 85, if not 90 metres to score that one. And Cortez, hang on, they're checking the last pass, I think. Oh no, they're blowing the whistle because there's a bit of push and shove between the sides by the sounds of it. But I think that last pass to Ratama is the one that they will want to check. I think Tom Wright's not happy. I'm going to write it in, but we just want to see this last pass before I get too keen. We're going to see it here. I thought Taylor almost... Yeah, Ratama went a little bit... No, just back, we'll say. It's close. It might have been just back. There we go. Cortez Ratama scores the try. We're going to see it from McKenzie. Oh, that's forward, actually. Never mind, there was a forward pass earlier. It was the McKenzie one to Jordan. We're just going to take that one away. There we go. I'll get rid of that one. That one's gone as well. We have got there nothing special here. Just absolutely shocking defence. Says Salah and All Blacks says Dalen. And Puma's all the way says Eddie. And there, no try again, says Heaney. And the last pass, All Blacks' new nickname. Yeah, although this one was about the third last pass, which I guess isn't as catchy, is it? Okay, so they're saying it's gone forward from McKenzie. Yep. Yeah, that's gone forward. From that angle anyway, it does look that way. So it's going to be no try. So that is now Jordy Barrett and Cortez Ratama, who have both had disallowed tries. And you could also, well, you can't really argue about the Savia one, to be fair. Get that idiot off the field, says Joke the Woke. Well, to be fair, they've got a replacement fly-half. They've got Harry Plummer, who might get the chance. You might shoot me, but Wilson is the best number 8 on this field. Says Temp. I mean, he's got a lot of potential, Harry Wilson. He's put in some big hits throughout this game. Yeah, it was just a little bit... I wanted to see this last pass again, because I thought that one was... No, that one was backwards. The one that I thought was forward wasn't, but the earlier one that I didn't realise was forward was. So there you go. What's the score, says Albert? It is still 31-14 at the moment between these two sides. I love the All Blacks, but we need to be realistic about our fly half, says Oswald. I love the All Blacks. I hate to say, but McKenzie's becoming a liability. Says Gary, and Cortez playing like he really wants that gold jacket. Says Poots. Is your live score correct? I believe so, yes. Although the time is a little bit quick. We're 57 minutes through the game rather than 60. Now, Australia will have themselves a scrum feed. This is only 40 metres out from the All Blacks line as well. That's a knock-on from Nick White at the back of the scrum. That'll be frustrating for the Australians. Look at there, yes, says Albert. Thoughts on how Rico was playing? Rico's actually had a really good game. And he needed it. I mentioned about it in my preview. This is one of those contests that we thought was going to be the last straw for Rico if he had a poor performance. But he scored a try. He's had some good attacking runs. He's had a couple line breaks as well. But you know, it's just about backing that up as well. Ref doing a good job. Look at there. DMAC has always been a liability. You guys forget so quickly, says Adam. And there's Owen, too big, too strong, too fast. Says a G-Man. A decent crowd by the looks of it. TJ Perenara now making his way off the bench. And Cortez Ratama, great game for that man. And we have got there, just because they say here's the ball, doesn't mean you'll get up the field. You don't know rugby league. I didn't even realise we were still talking about rugby league, Kershaw. I thought you had stopped that at half time. Yes, let's go the All Blacks, more consistency, says Oswald, but Rico never has a good game when it matters, says Fluffy. Well, this game's not over yet. It could still matter, that try that Rico scored if New Zealand. That's a big push there at scrum time, though. They will have themselves the penalty advantage now. 40 metres out from the line, McKenzie. Flyer in a rough pass off to Will Jordan. A little bit too low, so they do have to go back now for the penalty. And just wait for Oz energy drop and floodgates open. And these two teams have a long way to go to compete for anything, unfortunately, says Jace. And Aussies making ABs look good, says Daryl. Yeah, just a mistake from McKenzie. Only another 21 minutes remaining in this contest. Why are these two still arguing about league? I'm actually impressed with how long they have argued about it. With, like, no kind of, I guess, acknowledgement from anyone. They've just gone back and forth throughout the whole half. Now McKenzie goes back to Anton Leonard-Brown. Paianga Mosa trying to get in the breakdown, but can't get the turnover. He was after Savia. Nice step there, but tackled by Valentini. It's going to be a turnover for the Australians. Noel Alessio back in the pocket. Will kick it downfield. 3 New Zealanders chasing after a fantastic kick. Gets it into the 22. Someone with some heavy knee bracing. Who is that? Who is that? Was that Cody Taylor? It was Cody Taylor. They've just said. He just went backtracked like 40 metres to chase the kick. I was almost in disbelief. The fact that the starting hooker, like they've said, 60 minutes in is still the first man to get back to that ball is just showing the work rate of that man. Now, Brandon Paianga Amosa. Gonna throw this one in. Nicely claimed by Lukan Salakai-Lotto. Now short ball from McWright goes to Valentini. Carrying hard and straight. The Wallabies would be number 1 if they could hold the ball and if the ref wasn't crooked, says you old shagger. And if New Zealand had played like this against South Africa, they would have lost by 30, says JW. Now Nick White going across there to Harry Wilson. Good low tackle made by Tamaiti Williams. Rush defence from Clark. Doesn't quite get Tom right. 3 tackles missed in a row there from the All Blacks. For Savia managing to finish the job. Harry Wilson tackled low by Barrett. Now Nololesio goes across to Rob Valentini. Almost stripped by Wallace Atiti. There's going to be the penalty though. I think that's for not releasing. Now Ikatau finds the offload on the outside to Marika Kurumbetti. McWright again. And now they'll go back for the penalty. Cody Taylor is world class. Says Floyd Kingy. How many times will New Zealand drop the ball or be caught out? Says Satyawan. I think there's still a few more in this match. I think both sides haven't had the best hands throughout this time. Any injuries in this game? Geordie Barrett heavily strapped or heavily braced knee from the first half. So not a good sign for the All Black centre. We'll have to wait and see what comes of that. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got 2,700 people watching and we are only 400 subscribers away from 55,000. So if you want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. We've still got 3 more games this weekend that we are covering, including the South Africa versus Argentina game, as well as Fiji versus Japan, which is taking place in only 2.5 hours' time. Alongside that, we are covering the Rugby Championship next week, and the URC also will be starting up on the channel as well. But Australia 10 metres out from the line. That one's going to be stolen by Satiti. TJ Perenara not giving himself much space to be able to work with in terms of creating an angle, but the ball has bounced beautifully for him. And now 40 metres out from the Wallabies line, the Aussies will have the throw. Geordie injury is a blessing in disguise, says Eddie Andrews. And Sydney Roosters versus Manly prediction. I'm not sure who's going to win that one. I'd like to see the Roosters win it, just because I don't mind the Roosters, but it's hard to say. I feel like both sides have been playing relatively well in the last little while. Right, Tate McDermott is now on the field. That is for Nick White. And 2.7k watching. Congrats, says Eric B. Thank you very much. And Box playing in 37 degrees Celsius tonight. Says this is Lewis Dolly. Okay, so they're going to need a lot of drinks breaks, I would say. Now sitting 40 metres out from their own line here. McDermott joining the breakdown. Lolalicio Going back across, I added one too many lols in that name, but here comes Andrew Callaway. Goes for the kick behind Rika Kurumberry, chasing hard, but the ball's gone into touch. Are you doing the Sharks game? We certainly are. We are doing the Curry Cup final between the Lions and the Sharks as well. Being a Kiwi and a Rooster fan since the 80s, Roosters by 10. There's a G-man there. That one has gone into touch, but yeah, we've still got another, I believe it's like 7 hours of commentary that we are doing today. So the voice is going to struggle big time, I would say, by the end of it. ABs are finally playing some good rugby. All Blacks to win by a huge margin, says Regan. And Enjoy Roof, says Zenda. Now getting ready to throw this one in, Safar Moore. Managing to find the hands there of Tupavai. Now looking to use this one to the left-hand side. DJ Perenara going across to Adi Savia. Valentini, he's been working hard throughout this game, but he just hasn't really got too much of the ball yet. Hi from Rome, 2 Kiwis travelling the world, says Katrina. Lovely. So whereabouts are you heading next after Rome, Katrina? Assume you're doing most of Europe. Well, you're over there, charged down by Lukan Salakai Lotto, but Damien McKenzie is right there, ready to clear the lines. ABs to pass 50 Amish? I don't think so. I think that my score prediction of the ABs having 38 is not going to be a mile off. What's our time? Till the final whistle. Still another 15 minutes left in this fixture between the teams. So if Australia score a try and get to 21, I'd be relatively close. If New Zealand also end up scoring 38-21 rather than my 38-23 prediction, that would be not too bad. Out of your 8, Damien McKenzie. He's had some good moments, but there have been a few times in this game that he has butchered opportunities, unfortunately. But overall, like, it's still not a bad game. I'll give him about a 6 or a 7, I'd say. But he certainly hasn't been the best back for the All Blacks in this contest. I think that either goes to Clark or Ratama. Now, big shot coming in on Noel Alessio. I think Tupavai's injured. It looks like he took a massive shot there to his shoulder. He does not look flashed, and the gap opens up for Lukan Salakai Lotto. Bumps over the top of McKenzie and just can't quite get that pass away to Tate McDermott. Now 10 metres out for the line for the Wallabies. This is their opportunity to get slowly back into this contest. Tate McDermott going off to the right-hand side. I'm looking around for Tupavai, and at the moment, I do not see him. I think he'll be on the near side of the field just now. Get him back on side. Tate McDermott sells the dummy, tries to pierce his way through, but Will Jordan is there, ready to tackle him. Now Williams, name that I don't think we've said it throughout this whole match, actually. Harry Wilson, we've said that man's name quite a bit. They're only a metre out. Payanga Mosa drops his head, gets close, but still just away from the try line. Paisami, he's going to drive through, and he scores the try for Australia as they get back into the contest. Unless they want to check something. It's a yellow card as well. Slowing the ball down. Yellow card for Anton Leonard-Brown, 3 in a row. So I think he ended up in the situation of just giving away the wrong penalty. A massive hole. Like they've just said, the reason Lukan Salakai Lotto went so easily in that gap was because that's where Tupavai normally defends, but he was down with that shoulder injury. So hopefully he's going to be all right, because he is certainly a player that they do not want to lose now after the way that he has been playing in the last little while. Aussie actually looking at the better team, says Jace. Yeah, both of these sides have had some good moments in this game. It's just the problem that they've had is quite a few bad moments have overshadowed those good moments, if that makes sense. Conversion taken now. It's going to go over from Noah Lolesio. Certainly did. That'll make the score 21-31. Do you think the Rugby Championship teams, rugby sides will fare, or how do you think they'll fare on the Northern Tour? I think most of them will go all right. At the end of the day, like, they've still got another month or so to kind of find that rhythm. But, yeah, I can see South Africa doing well. I think New Zealand will have some tough games, but I think they should be able to get, I'd say, at least 3 or 4 wins out of those games, and I feel like that would be considered as a success. Brandon Paenga-Amosa, inside ball to McWright. This is another opportunity for the Australians. McDermott running hard, but TJ is there to put him down in a body-to-body suplex. Now going to the short side, Rob Valentini. Australia can feel the momentum shift here. Brandon Paenga-Amosa again gets the chance. McWright runs it straight at Savia. Is this going to be a case again that New Zealand can't close out a game? Sam Derry makes the tackle after coming on for Tupavai, and his injury. Paisami runs it flat. We've hardly seen him, but now the last 15 minutes or so, they don't seem to be able to avoid him. And his attack and runs. Harry Wilson, McDermott goes across the slipper. Rush defence from TJ, manages to shut it down. The All Blacks over the ball, and they'll win the penalty. Bro, New Zealand aren't winning anything till the coach pulls his head out of the sand and sleeps on form, says Jace. And it'll be AB's collapsing in the last 20 all over again. Hamish, you always make perfect sense. This is why we all listen, mate. Kiwi Paul in London. See Paul there. Well, thank you very much, mate. I often talk too quick for my brain to work, though, I think. And I kind of confuse myself sometimes, but hopefully it makes sense. What are the possession stats for this half? That was a great tackle made by TJ Perenara. Australia have actually had more possession throughout the second half, I believe. I haven't got the exact stat. I only have the actual full percentage of possession, which doesn't really help us. Hard and straight, says Volta. Yeah, but the yellow card, putting them under pressure. Leonard Brown not happy about it. It makes rugby sense, says Adam there. But yeah, anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, we are on the road to 54,000. We are only 350 away now. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Oh, what we got now? Oh no, Carl Dixon was just talking to Mackenzie. Rugby knowledge is awesome, Hamish, says David the Mod. Thank you very much, mate. I'm in Brisbane, says Choke the Woke, and Australia have more chance at winning than me winning Lotto. It ain't going to happen, says Aaron. Hey, what? New Zealand, they'll have to shore up their defence a little bit throughout the last 12 minutes, though. They're down to 14. A very bad second half by New Zealand, says Nakabi. Exactly right. They haven't been able to replicate what they do in a first half in the second. Who do you think deserves man of the match? I would say either Ratama or Caleb Clark for me in terms of All Blacks. In terms of the Australians, I think Fraser McWright or Harry Wilson, probably the two right at the top. But if I had to pick out of those two, I'd go Fraser McWright. Now rolling maul here, 40 metres out from the line for the All Blacks. Still 6.5 minutes remaining of that yellow card as TJ Perenara puts up the box kick. Nicely taken by Noel Olesio. He's had a hard game. They're on the field at the moment. They have tried to target him a little bit. Here comes Langy Gleeson with a flat run straight at Barrett and Sam Derry. Could be the combination next week if there is the injury to Tupo Vai's shoulder. And AB struggled to score in the last quarter of the late. We have turned the TV commentary down and listening to you, man. So much better. New to the channel from Briz. Says Jace. Well, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciate you being here. We do every game of the Rugby Championship as well as the November Internationals. Here comes a big run up the middle from Will Jordan. But he's had the ball stripped, but it's gone backwards. TJ goes across to Damian McKenzie now. Passes on the outside to Caleb Clark. We haven't seen a lot of him recently, but gets the offload to Ioane. Satiti on the inside. Has he got the pace? He's bumped off one. Gives it to Jacobson. And the All Blacks now 10 metres out from the try line. Rico has to play halfback. McKenzie goes in behind to Jordan with the wide cutout pass to Savia. Didn't pass. Instead goes on the inside to Jordan. Might have been a bit worried. That was a bad decision, though, from Savia as the penalty goes the way of Australia for not releasing, isolating his teammate. That ball needed to go out to Severis there. Draw and pass from Savia. It was on, but he ignored it. Went on the inside instead where Australia were waiting patiently to go in and get that turnover. Now, Australia will kick this one into touch. It's going to be a long 10 minutes, says Anov Mum. And also we've got their yardage. Says Jason, Australia woke up after the big slap in the face that Argentina gave it. And Langy Gleeson looked happy enough with that one. Basilio Tosi now getting the opportunity. Oh, was he on his knees, says Rodney. not sure, to be honest. When's Harry Plummer going to make his way onto the field, I wonder? Is Robertson even going to back him? That's the big question. Because we have seen it time and time again. The likes of Derry coming onto the field up against South Africa with like 3 minutes to go. Not even using him in one of the other games. I think it was up against South Africa. Any subs been done yet? So they have now made the sub of Basilio Tossi. Looks like James Slipper's actually going to go off the field for an HIA. And All Blacks are fame crazy. They need to play as a team. Bring back Foster as coach, says Joke the Woke. The Sharks are strong, says Jacques there. Who put them there in the first place, idiot? Says it was there from Bob. Yeah, Lee Gleeson just, the knee might have possibly touched down in the end, but that's going to be now claimed by the Wallabies. Oh, attack and run from Peach, but he just slips a little bit. Pronunciation is great, says LJ. Thank you very much. Big shot on Lukan Salakailoto. Derry gets over, but does lose the footing. Looks like it's getting slippery out there at the moment. So Slipper has broken the record. He has indeed 140 caps now for that man. Little chip behind from Nolalicio. It's an awkward one. Who's it going to go to? McKenzie slaps it back to Will Jordan. That looked a little bit high from Lineker. Not a lot of crouching at the hips there. Now big run from Basilio Tossi. Gets an extra 5 or so post-contact meters. Perenara goes across to McKenzie. Safwa more. When you talk about power, you talk about that man, but McWright has shut him down and put him down. Now TJ in behind finds Derry McKenzie with the skip pass out wide to Caleb Clark. Been beaten defenders all day. At this time, Ikatel stops his momentum. 5 phases in a row here for New Zealand. 8 minutes remaining in this fixture. Safwa Moore goes in behind. Good hands from Rico Ioane. Reese on the outside to Wallace Atiti. Cuts inwards, tackled by Williams. Now TJ Perenara goes across to McKenzie. That's a forward pass from Sam Derry. And it's given the ball straight into the hands of the Australians. Leon Ikatel goes to Tom Wright. Oh, it's a deliberate knockdown from Clark, and that could be a controversial one. In fact, I think this is going to be a yellow card for Caleb Clark. Yes, it is. He will go from the field. And New Zealand now playing with 13. Someone was saying earlier on they prefer league. New Zealand now playing like a league team with only the 13 on the field for the last 8 minutes, although they will get the return of another player in 3 minutes' time. Now kicking that one into touch. Australia putting a lot of pressure on the fingertip of Clark. And your sleep schedule must be crazy. This game, Japan Curry Cup, and then the Boxies, Jacob Hill. Yeah, it doesn't really exist, if I'm being honest, for my sleep schedule. But now he gets to sit next to his teammate, Anton Leonard-Brown. WGF on the field, are they? You must give coordinates. I waste bloody time, otherwise idiot, says Eric. At least you asked nicely, Eric. I'll give you that. Currently on the halfway line. That's a knock-on from Andrew Callaway. That was a knock-on. They're still going. How are they still going? It was a clear knock-on. And Katel's going to score. Didn't he knock that one on? But that is the try for Leonard Cattell. They have to go back there. You know? Was that not just the clearest knock-on that we've ever seen? There we go. It's no try. Shout out to the Bok fans. There you boys all playing awesome. No, says Dylan there. And no excuses, AB's poor ever. Wallabies won't win. And awful, says Eric B. And knock on, says David the Mod. Calm down, Brolo, says Aaron. Okay. They've gone back for that knock on. Ref really trying his best to make Australia win. And Kevin needs to sit on the sideline and slap himself after that one, lol. Says Stephen. Am I G Hamish? Clear as day. That one for Andrew Callaway. He was looping around and then just got the hand on it, slapped it forward, picked it up and kept on running. And great reffing. They are actually seeing things, says Heaney in there as well. Now, still another maybe 2 minutes or so remaining of that yellow card. Self-destructing All Blacks, useless sea razor. And Wallabies will win in Wellington. Even the Pumas are way better. You can't tell me the ref didn't see it. Gaps high, says Jason. But now it's going to be the scrum beat just around the halfway line for the All Blacks. You're welcome, Eric. 7 minutes left on the clock. TJ about to feed this ball in. Wallabies the only team that can win without holding the ball. And go the All Blacks. Love the commentary. It says Transient. Thank you very much. Now going to the short side. Will Jordan just jogging forward. Trying to find that next gap. Hunter Paisami trying to find that turnover for the Wallabies. Now taking their time here. This is more the methodical pace that we are used to seeing when TJ Perenara is the man at halfback. Counter ruck coming though from the All Blacks. Well defended by Will Jordan. Got around Langy Gleeson's attempt. And keeps it on the side of the All Blacks. TJ Perenara passing across to the left-hand side. 43 metres out from the Wallabies line at the moment. Perenara again will find the ball into the hands of Savia. I think at this stage, Australia, they will know that time is starting to get a little bit thin. Only 6 minutes left on the clock, but they've got the turnover. And it's Dylan Peach this time who locks himself over the ball and gets the turnover. Satiti's down with an injury by the looks of it. Looks like it might have been his knee that ended up giving way. We're going to see it now. Was it his knee? Oh, shoulder on shoulder with Hunter Paisami, but it just seemed like maybe the knee, as he was falling downwards, didn't really give him that much support. You always get those clown haters. Says it was there from Trajan. AB's coach needs to jog on, says Glenn. All this hating on the ABs puts me off watching these lives. Says Heaney there. And thanks for the commentary. Like I said, bro, has been awesome. Take care all, says Jason. Enjoy your commentary, says Mark. Looks like Satiti, the only sub that they can make is Harry Plummer. Don't know whether or not it's a change for change type of arrangement there. And ouch, says Dylan. The spoils rugby altogether. It spoiled the final and it happens to the Blacks. Says Jason Hill. And between Argentina and South Africa, anything can happen. Yeah, that game has taken place in only around 14 hours' time. How much pressure would be on Plummer? I think that that's the type of pressure you want, though, as a young player. You don't want to be out there when your team's already won a game. Maybe you do, but in my eyes, as a young player, you want to be that guy that gets that winning moment for your side. We love rugby in the ABs. We just want to win. Says Rue there. Looks like Satiti's going to try and continue. He's got a lot of strapping going onto that knee. He's at 13 carries, 27 metres gained. Or are they just going to strap it up to the end? Sam Kane actually looks like he's warming up at the moment as well. He might have to make his way back onto the field. Absolutely, Hamish says G-Man. Absolutely enjoying the commentary from Japan. And of course, later on, we are doing the game that is taking place between Japan and Fiji. So be sure to check that one out. That one kicking off in only about 2 hours' time. Spot on, Hamish. The pressure will either make you or break you. And Plummer has the goods, my bro. Mark my words. Hamish is the premier rugby commentator in New Zealand. Discuss. Says Vix there. Satiti is a beast. He certainly is. He's going to continue in this game. Only 22 years old. He's younger than myself by actually quite a bit. I'm getting older. It's kicked in a touch by Australia, though. And they are now going to have themselves the line out 35 metres from the try line. Leonard Brown not too far away from making his way onto the field, whereas Bowden Barrett, he was sick, so he wasn't able to play in this contest. Will Jordan took the fullback jersey. Severis was out on the right wing. And now, nice stepping all that was high from Basilio Tossi. No, it sounds like they're going to let it play on. Beautiful offload from Harry Wilson. A great last-ditch tackle made by Wallace Satiti. I think they're going back for something, though. Carl Dixon getting yelled at by the Aussies to check something. This is an offload and a half out the back door from Harry Wilson. Unfortunately, though, it did just drift forward, and that is a work rate and a half from Satiti to make that tackle out on the wing. When you're dealing with an injured knee, still willing to put in those hard yards. Oh, what's happening now? High tackle, they're going back for it. That is against Basilio Tossi. And Plummer should go back to fixing my toilet. I love some good defence. Says Matt John, there it is, just riding a little bit high from Basilio Tossi. I love some good defence, and Rudy, I agree, but not McKenzie. Big boy. And go to the All Blacks, says Carl. 10 penalties against Australia, 9 against New Zealand. How many minutes? Not many whatsoever at the moment in the, I think it's 5 left at the moment for this match. Actually, less than 5. 4.5 minutes remaining, 75.5 minutes gone, and Australia throw the ball in. Rolling maul, starting up here. They've gone down. Jeremy Williams, he goes by himself. He's isolated though, and Satiti gets the turnover. He's done 2 brilliant things since getting injured, but he's got the turnover. Williams, the lack of experience, he went himself. He thought he could get over the line, and Satiti said, no, you don't, and gets the turnover there. Satiti just locks himself over the ball, quick as a flash. And Satiti, 22 years old, carrying the team. Satiti, a beast, says Poots there, and Clutch Ad says Matt John. Now New Zealand, they will be about 24 metres out from their line. Chance for the line out. Harry Plummer's not going to get any more than 3 minutes. In fact, okay, he's going to get 3.5 minutes. How generous of Scott Robertson for Harry Plummer. It's not quite as bad as when Razor gave Perifeta 80 seconds on debut, but Scott Robinson, he's got into his pocket, he's gone into the generous man stage and given him 210 seconds to prove himself at international level. Now rolling more for the All Blacks, not really working out at the moment. They are in fact going backwards. Jeremy Williams has gone through the middle and he shut that one down. The Wallabies get it back and they will now have a scrum feed inside of New Zealand's 22. Wallace, although young, shows qualities of the future AB's captain, says Arthur Morgan. We'll give the All Blacks in this half has no structure, says Oswald. Yeah, they've scored 3 points. And someone mentioned about how it was quite a negative mindset taking the 3 when they did, but it might have been the only points they get throughout this whole half of rugby. The maul got brought down, but anyway, says your old shagger, and need to raise the bar to beat South Africa these days. And go the All Blacks, says Petrus there. And also we have the ABs are pathetic, says Oswald. Meters gained pretty even from these two sides. What an idiot, Scott Robinson. What is the point bringing someone on with 3 minutes? Wait, so Mackenzie's still out there. So they've taken Caleb... Wait. No, they can't take Caleb Clark off. Who's Plummer come back on for? Is Plummer on? Yeah, he is, because he just made the tackle. He must be on for Sevu Reece, I would think, maybe. Or Will Jordan. I'm looking round for certain players. Not sure what that change was, but Mackenzie is still on the field, ladies and gentlemen. So I think maybe Mackenzie's dropped to 15, and then they've got Will Jordan off now. It's just my guess. But Bell going across to the left-hand side. No, Jordan's still on. Great attack and run from Dylan Peach. He's within a metre of the try line. Rico gets back up to his feet, but can't get the turnover. McWright goes across to Angus Bell. Last time these two sides played for the Bledisloe Cup in the first match, Australia lost by 3. Is it going to happen again? It's an offside advantage against New Zealand. Back across to the right-hand side. Tom Wright goes over. And there's still a minute to play. And Australia back in the game now, ladies and gents, once again. Anton Leonard-Brown calling the team over now. He wants to have a meeting with them. They have scored 3 points in the second half. Tom Wright goes in, though, for the Australians in the 79th minute of the game. It is still on for young and old. And there is going to be a big finish just around the corner. But for those who said that maybe the All Blacks shouldn't have taken the 3, might be the only thing that keeps them in the lead for this game. And it's nice to be a Springbok supporter, says Albert. And imagine hating on a team that is winning. Some people wake up just to hate, says what happened. That kick has gone over. And now it is going to make the score 28 points to 31. And what is going to be an absolutely insane finish. Mackenzie missing the tackle on Tom Wright, letting him slip through the gap. How many ABs are on the field? At the moment, they have got 14 on the field. What a game, says Dwayne. Yeah, it's come down to the wire. Second half has been anything but what New Zealand would have wanted it to be. There are 15 seconds remaining, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it full time yet? Not yet. Still 15 seconds left. And there is time to play as New Zealand will be kicking off to the Australians. They kick it off deep and long. They've decided that that is the tactic that they want to use. Try and make Australia have to attack from inside their 22, but already 2 missed tackles Saffron and Scott Barrett both dropping it. New Zealand make it a rolling maul. The ball is stuck in there and they will now have the scrum in the final moments of this game. Not sure who it was. It was Savia by the looks of it who got in there, held that one up. They're going to have the scrum though. Last time they played, like I said, Australia lost by 3 and it looks like that might be the reality once again. Paisami getting held up. Same with TJ helping him out and then they were not letting that ball go. These 3 points will be the difference between the Bledisloe going back to New Zealand or it going on to maybe Australian shore. But for now, looks like New Zealand should be able to secure it. But I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Harry Wilson having a chat with Carl Dixon. Okay, Harry Wilson just checking with Carl Dixon. They felt like there was maybe a high shot, I think was what they were asking for there. Maybe TJ Perenara gets them. Cheers, Hamish. Keep me updated on at work. Top man, says Adam. And we've got plenty more that is coming up all throughout the night, ladies and gentlemen. Next game that we are going to be doing is Fiji versus Japan. And after that, it is the Currie Cup final and then South Africa versus Argentina. Still a boring game, says Cole. Well, luckily, you didn't have to watch it. So I feel like if you sat through it, you've done well in a way, haven't you? You should be proud of your attention span, but that one's going to go into touch. New Zealand have kicked it out, and they will claim the Bledisloe Cup again, but it was a close one. Ladies and gentlemen, only just holding on. Hamish, Google Live pin-up score, say 28-31. You have Australia 21, please confirm. It is currently 28-31 on my screen, so you might be a little bit delayed. I would say too close, says Mark Ellison there. I'm way too close, says Squid. Lucky win, but a win is a win. A man of the match was the ref lol, says Centrist Patreon. And thanks for your commentary, Hamish, says Russell Dold. And there as well. But anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, we've got plenty more coming up on the channel. We are on the road to 55,000 subscribers. We've got 3 more taking place today. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again, Hamish. Great calling. Says Gary, thank you very much. Why can't we score a try in the second half? Unfortunately, the All Blacks, like no matter how well they start at the moment, the trend is they cannot score in that second 40 minutes. That is now 2 games in a row, if not maybe 3 games in a row, that they haven't scored a single try in a second half of rugby. And thanks for the calling of the game. Great job, says Mark. Thank you very much. Who's winning later on between the Springboks and Argentina? I did predict that the Springboks would win that game 43-15. So we'll see whether or not that is correct. Is that right? 5 games in a row that the All Blacks have not scored a try in the second half. Is that? Oh, in the last 20 minutes, sorry. We're getting stats on the fly. Thanks, Hamish, says KW Stanley. And thanks, Hamish, says Colin. And thank you, Fly Pants, says George. I mean, I'll take it as a nickname, I guess. Thanks, Hamish, says Beard and the Beast. And thanks, a great commentary for a poor game, and I don't want to hear because he was on fire. Make the change because this is a team sport, says Mr. Orlam. And Anzac, future rugby future, not looking bright. Kirsch is still going on about league in South Africa by the looks of it. See you for the Lions versus the Sharks. And ladies and gentlemen, anyone who does want the next game that we are doing, it is Japan versus Fiji. That is going to be taking place in only 2 hours' time. Does Sky also cover Box versus Pumas? They certainly will, yep. And we are starting our coverage from 8 a.m. here in New Zealand. Are you wearing pants? I am not, but I'm wearing shorts, so that's at least something, isn't it? But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. New Zealand winning this game by 3 in a very close encounter. Nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.